She felt she struck something. She said, Dad, I think I struck something.
He didn't look mortally wounded as far as I could see, but could I have done something that knocked him out and in drunkenness and in the cold didn't come to again?
The injuries to Mr. O'Keefe were primarily on the right side of his body, correct?
Correct.
Dad, I think I struck something.
There was bruising to his right hand. Do you recall that?
Yes.
If I enlarge that, it kind of looks like a paw print bruise to me. I mean, tell me if I'm crazy. And I don't know if it's possible to bruise post-mortem.
No, it's not.
Exactly like a dog print.
So there were injuries to his right arm and forearm, elbow area, correct?
Correct.
Those are clearly lacerations, not abrasions. We all know what an abrasion looks like. It's insulting to us to suggest that those are abrasions.
Glass from this broken taillight could cause linear abrasions.
Yes, I agree.
Would you describe the injuries to Officer O'Keefe's right forearm as lacerations or abrasions?
Those are abrasions.
Those are abrasions?
Yeah.
I remember there was one piece of metal sort of sticking out.
If they are trying to claim that Officer O'Keefe was run over by this car, there would be evidence of that on his clothing.
Shards of that broken taillight were littered in his sweater.
I did not know that.
When's the first time you learned of that?
Right now.
She said, what about my taillight? What about my taillight? And I looked, and there was a piece missing.
I called my father. He didn't answer, and I texted him, John is dead.
I remember, all right, backing up and hitting something.
You told me you don't remember anything from last night. She said, do you think I hit him? Do you think I hit him? And I said, no, I don't think you hit him. I think you probably hit something.
There was an abrasion to the outside or the posterior of his right leg near his knee. Do you recall that?
I don't know that I recall that off the top of my head.
And do you recall sort of the skull fracture or the laceration that immediately outside of the skull fracture was on sort of the right back of his head?
Yes.
So if we're saying that there's enough force if you fall backwards to strike your head and cause that skull fracture, well, he could have slipped and struck his head. The car could have backed up and not known that he was there and nudged him and caused him to fall. I mean, any event that would cause him to fall backwards obviously would result in him striking his head. So there's numerous, almost infinite possibility of different scenarios that could result in that type of an event.
Very few experts in this area in the country.
Yes, it's called the Franken truck.
Yes, generally speaking, a side swipe means that the person or the pedestrian in the vehicle don't obtain a similar or common velocity. So if you're standing in front of a car and it hits you, it's going to speed you up to that same speed and then disengage. The side swipe means that there's not this mass-to-mass impact. By its very nature, sideswipe has minimal forces. We see it even between vehicles that just rub against each other. So if there's a sideswipe impact with a pedestrian in a vehicle, there's going to be very little damage to the pedestrian whatsoever.
It's in my head. I didn't write it down.
For instance, if a car came and swiped by your arm, but didn't have enough force or enough contact to cause any damage.
I don't know. So the list, there was a list that I went through in my head.
You have no certifications in regard to Celebrite as a tool and how to use it, those kind of things?
That's correct, sir. I can't tell you that. I am colorblind.
No, I didn't have that. Mm-hmm.
And the defendant's vehicle was being operated in reverse.
The objection sustained. Next question.
If I've caused you any distress, I apologize.
I went through various scenarios in my head.
That body wasn't hit by my car.
I don't
That's
recall.
not what you said in your affidavit that was actually filed under pains and penalties of perjury with this court, correct?
Yes, and on that day, that is what my true and proper belief was.
Have you shown any tech stream data, Toyota tech stream data from the defendant's vehicle?
No.
Are you aware that Celebrite has had to modify their software based on misinterpretation of data, as you've done in this case?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's impossible for me to have any sympathy.
Christ, our Lord,
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Happy Easter and happy Karen Reed Eve, because I think Tuesday is when we will begin to hear opening statements. There's just so many different things that I'm finding that like I had it in the back of my head, like, oh no, this is an old story. I know this is a lie. So I really wanted to go back to the beginning because there's just so much BS, so much crap that people are, they've just changed so much. And so one of them is this, and I will share my screen. So if you remember the documentary, Karen Reed says that Paul O'Keefe says he looks like he went 3 rounds with Mike Tyson, right? So this is from their motion to dismiss last year, right before her first trial. And in this, it's saying that O'Keefe's brother stated, let's see if I can highlight it to make it easier. Oh, come on. I think I can't highlight it. All right. So it's saying that O'Keefe's brother stated that he went to the hospital to view O'Keefe's body and it looked like he had been hit by a car. And so in the latest documentary, she's saying that Peggy O'Keefe said that. And that Paul O'Keefe said he looked like he went 3 rounds or 5 rounds with Mike Tyson. So this is the defense's motion. And so like their motion to dismiss was basically saying that the grand jury shouldn't have heard this, shouldn't have heard that Paul O'Keefe said that because it's hearsay and because it's, substituting for expert testimony or something along those lines, which, they threw out this motion to dismiss because it was all BS. But it's just really strange that the defense themselves is saying that that Paul O'Keefe is the one that's saying he got hit by a car. But that documentary, Karen Reed is saying Peggy O'Keefe said this. Now, if you think back to the Dateline documentary, she never said anyone says it. She says that she was getting the vibes. Like she thought that they saw her taillight and they were looking at her, giving her the vibe that they knew that she hit him because they were looking at her taillight or whatever. But she didn't say anybody said anything to her. So it's like the truth with Karen Reed is just a constantly moving thing. Now, if we look at these are Turtle Boy and Paul O'Keefe texting each other. Paul O'Keefe saying, I know what the truth is, and that's all I care about. Turtle Boy says, and what do you think the truth is? So this is obviously Paul. And this was Turtle Boy was messaging John O'Keefe's Facebook page, and Paul O'Keefe was running it. So he was trying to find out who was running it. And Turtle Boy says, I saw you leaving with Carrie Roberts. And I think when I read this is when I was like, oh, I was still kind of believing that Karen was framed. And I read this story, I think it was like 148 or something like that, where has like his text with Paul O'Keefe. And he goes, you're an investigator. Look into her. Why is the ring footage deleted from 1 to 5 at his house? Why were they in such a hurry to get her car out of Canton that morning? Why did she tell us, I will never see you guys again? Why did she change her password on her cell phone? And Turtle Boy says she went to her parents' house. Now, to me, like when I saw this, I was just like, oh, wait a minute. The family doesn't think she was framed because I just had no idea. I thought that it was just common knowledge. And I think that, people that like would hear the story from Turtle Boy, and this is August of 2023. Maybe you don't look into it, but like I wanted to look into it because I wanted to report on it because I thought it was a cover up and I thought, I need to get the facts, right? But when I saw this, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like deleted ring footage. Like, what is that about? And, we never really got more information about that until the trial. But it just told me that like, this is, the family knows something. The family saw her that morning, and it really made me like question and want to dig in more for the information and look at it unbiased, because he's saying, you're an investigator, look into her. Why aren't you investigating? And, you know, it's very telling. It's very telling. Let's see if I think there's another. So Paul says she came to his house first. Her dad brought her and was with her brother and sister. They were there for 30 minutes to offer their condolences. They immediately took her car to drive it back to Dighton in a terrible blizzard, which is a 40-minute ride on a clear day. Now, it's important to notice or to think about, Karen Reed's father called 911 to get a ride to the hospital. And that was at like, I don't know, 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Because Karen Reed, he had her sectioned and he was trying to get to the hospital. So he's saying he couldn't drive. And at that point, you know, the turtle riders will tell you there was no snow on the ground. So why is he calling 911? I mean, we know that that was at least like 3 inches, 4 inches, something around that. So he called 911 because he couldn't drive in 4 inches. But mid-blizzard, he's completely fine getting Karen's car and driving it back to Dighton. Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense at all? And so Turtle Boy saying, did you see the brother's arm? Do you think that that was caused by someone driving 5 miles in reverse? So I don't know why he's saying 5 miles in reverse. I mean, Paul says the ME was from another part of the state, completely impartial, and said there weren't any puncture marks or any indication of an altercation. But she's in on it too. And I think it's important to note that even Karen Reed's own experts say no puncture marks. Like literally nobody's saying puncture marks. I think punctate wounds, they say, but no punctures. And like punctures or lacerations are necessary to be a dog bite. And that's the thing that you're going to see between Garrett Wing and Dr. Russell. Garrett Wing looked at the arm and says, definitely not scratches unless it's a lion or a bear. Those are dog bites. Dr. Russell says she can't tell if they're dog bites or scratches, but it's a mix of both. So, I mean, her experts aren't even aligned. And so here's where he says, didn't you say that he looked like he went through 5 rounds with Mike Tyson? Paul says, nope, that was Yannetti. And there was an early interview with Yannetti where Yannetti does say this, but I was thinking he was repeating it because someone else said it. But it appears that Paul did not say that at all, that it was Yannetti that said it, because even in the defense's own motion, they're quoting Paul O'Keefe saying Paul O'Keefe said he looked like he got hit by a car. And so Karen Reed goes on this documentary saying the Mike Tyson comment came from Paul, and it didn't. So Turtle Boy says, no, she's not in it, but she's clearly wrong. Paul's like, she's the expert. We are not. You honestly don't think those could come from a dog? I don't. You think someone going 5 miles per hour in reverse caused that? Why did Jen McCabe Google how's long dying cold? All right. I don't know what's next. Oh, then we have these texts. All right. So let's go back. All right. So this is the whole Paul O'Keefe Turtle Boy saga, right? So let me stop that for a minute. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's really unbelievable. So, I mean, part of me is like, oh, well, now, since statements are allowed in, can Brennan play the documentary, what Karen's saying, 5 rounds with Mike Tyson? And Paul can say, oh, I never said that. And then they can pull up the defense's motion where they're quoting him saying he looks like he got hit by a car. And then show her other Dateline interview where she's saying nobody said anything. Like, it is just so maddening that people can't see through this BS. Like, they're gonna get up there. I have no idea what they're gonna say. No idea what they're gonna say. Are they gonna double down on the lies? Are they gonna come up with new lies? Are they gonna retool some lies? Nobody knows. It's like really insane. And let's see. I don't know. I've never tried to share a screen with audio before. Let's see if I'm doing it right. Look for the share audio checkbox on the next window. I don't know if it's going to work. Let's try it. Also share system audio. Also share. Okay. Share. Let's see if this works. So this was August of 2023. Now we know from the text messages between Turtle Boy and Karen that they were in full talking every single day. Karen's even admitted it. I just really hope that Hank, I mean, there's just so much stuff. Like even me just like going through it and I'm familiar with it. There's just so much stuff and so much contradiction that hopefully Hank picks out the right pieces because there's just so much. Like the right pieces to have the impact that it needs to. So let me know if you guys can hear that.
Everybody. I tried to get back, trying to figure out my lighting so my lighting doesn't look like so horrible. Trying to get the lighting correct. Let's see if this looks better. Yeah, that's a little better. At least I can sort of see. Really washed out, but that's okay. That's okay. Hello, Sarah. We are waiting for, oh, there's already 33 of you guys here. Hi, Finny. Here he is. He's here. Let me invite you. So, Turtle Boy, you just got the invite. Hi, Patty. Hi, Drawing. So you just got to accept that invite, Turtle Boy, please. Yes, show us some love, you guys. If you want to show us some love so we can get some more people in here, please, that would be awesome. So Turtle Boy, you just have to go to the bottom and accept. Oh, there's Boundless. You gonna come on too? Boundless, you need to come on, buddy. I know you're watching. I just saw you there. Hey, Nick, can you moderate for me, Nick? Nick, make me moderators, please.
An ad.
I got a Mixado knife, and what followed was an absolute fiasco. So I almost made the dumbest mistake of my life. I got the Japanese-like kitchen knife, and honestly, I was ready to return it.
So Henry Blue on Twitter. We think that's Karen.
Turtle Boy, you there? Hi.
Here. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I just want to make sure that I have all my moderators here. I saw Boundless is watching. I've invited him to join up to talk to us, so he's here.
Oh, the guy that took the prosecution position, that guy?
Stop it. The other, yeah, I don't.
Yeah. I know. I've saw him on TikTok.
Okay.
He doesn't want to talk about this. That's too bad.
No, and I have a lot of people on here who were wanting him to talk for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about the case a lot. And
he does. He does.
He first got our attention because he was using my content, like not just, like my thoughts on here, like me actually filming these people in public, and he was using attribution. So we said, we left a comment. And at the time, he seemed to be on the Karen side, which to me is the common sense side.
You're absolutely right. I saw that at first. You're absolutely right.
And then when we commented and we're like, hey, can you maybe cite us if you're going to use our content without attribution? Then suddenly he decided that she's actually guilty. So I'm not sure he's exactly the kind of person that has principles or anything like that or stands for anything. So I'm not really sure what he would add, but I'd be happy to discuss with him.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have him, listen, like I said before, I mean, I talked about the case a little bit, not much, because there is so much to this case, and I want to make sure I get it right. And y'all have been doing amazing telling the story. And I have watched his too, because I used to, as you were a reporter too, weren't you? Did I read you used to be a reporter?
I am a reporter. I mean,
do you work for, well, that's true, but do you work for anyone besides yourself right now?
I'll never work for anyone. I built my own media company.
I love that. Good for you. Congratulations. Well, when I was a reporter for CBS, it was you had to tell right down the road stories, right? That was brainwashed in my head. So that's why I was I'd love to hear his side of the story too, and we know he's watching. I had a lot of people tag him today on things. Award-winning journalist. I love that. So you have a lot of people in here watching for you. So that's awesome. We've all tagged him. We've all tagged him and said, come up into the box, Boundless. We know you're watching. And it would be
watching. Is he in the chat?
He was in the chat. Yeah, he joined. He's here for sure.
Man, jump on up. But we don't bite. We just want to talk. You talk about the case a lot. So let's talk about it.
And he does. He has 20,000 people. He's got a big following. So it would be great for him to be up here to kind of, I agree. Hear the side that he feels so strongly in. Boston Strong. I ran the Boston Marathon the year after the bombing, by the way. Just as one put. Here he is. Come on, Boundless. I see you. I've invited you. Come on up. I see you here. So, another minute.
Oh, cool. Sweet.
All right.
It's a party.
It is a party. I don't even know either of your guys' real
My
names.
name's Aiden, by the way.
Aiden.
Yeah.
Boundless.
Hey.
What's your real name?
Matt.
Dave. Oh, Matt.
Matt.
Oh, that's right.
All right, Matt and Aiden, we have it here. Okay, first of all, thank you, Matt, for joining. We tagged you a lot today in all of our posts and whatnot. Aiden and I have been talking about doing this for, I don't know, like 2 weeks. And Aiden, thank you as well. I know that I really appreciate you jumping on and doing this.
I always said I'm not going to be a TikToker, but like everyone's on here, so I might as well just make some TikToks. I'm not dancing though. I'll never dance.
Okay, yeah, you don't have to dance anymore. Yeah. Although I think that Nick, I'm sorry, your name's Nick. I'm so bad with names. I'm just gonna call you Boundless. I've seen you dance a little bit, move around a little bit. So you definitely have creative videos. There's no doubt about that, without a doubt. So here's what we're gonna do. We have quite a few people watching right now. I want to hear an overview of the Karen Reed case. That's what I've been calling it. So Turtle Boy, Aiden, I'm gonna have you do it just because you've been so close to the case since the beginning. And then we're just going to get into a discussion, maybe a debate. I don't know, but it'll be relatively easy. I have a feeling. So it'll be great. So Aiden, if you want to just start and talk about the Karen Reed case, like maybe from the beginning.
All right, sure. On January 29th, 2022, Karen Reed, I think she was a 41-year-old woman at the time with a boyfriend by the name of John O'Keefe, who was a Boston police officer. They went out to a bar called CF McCarthy's, met up with some friends who they knew through their kids, basically. And they went to this bar called the Waterfall, and then that closed at midnight. And they went back to this house they were invited to this after party at a 30, which is a home owned by another police officer from Boston named Brian Albert. Now, Brian and John, despite both being on the Boston Police Department, barely knew each other. They'd met a couple times, but they were definitely not like friends or anything like that. And a woman by the name of Jennifer McCabe is the one who invited John over. Jennifer McCabe is the sister-in-law of Brian Albert. So she is sisters with Brian's wife, Nicole. And Karen, it was like, I don't know, these people are in their 40s. I don't go to after parties. I go to bed. And like,
join the club.
Yeah, so like that's Karen Reed's kind of like the same as me. She's like, yeah, okay, John. Like John was like, oh, I really want to go there, just hang out with them, meet them. He didn't really know them all that well, but I don't know if he was just trying to like be friendly or something, but she didn't want to go. He did. So she dropped him off and went home. And she expected to hear from him within like an hour or two, but never did. And so she woke up in the middle of the night, like, where's John? And makes a phone call at 4:53 to Jennifer McCabe, who says, I don't know where he is. And so she goes out looking for him. She meets up with Jennifer McCabe and another woman by the name of Carrie Roberts. And the three of them eventually drive to 34 Fairview Road, where Karen notices John's body at 6 a.m. lying on the front lawn. There was about an inch or two of snow at the time, and freaks out, gets out of the car. The other two claim that they don't notice him there, even though there's no obstructions or anything. Starts performing CPR on him. He's pronounced dead less than 2 hours later. And at no point during this whole time, with multiple first responders in the yard, probably a dog barking too, does Brian Albert or Nicole Albert come out of the house. They just don't come out of the house. Despite the fact that a body is found on the front lawn of the house, police don't follow the normal protocol they have and search.
This is how to get in shape fast.
If you want to drop this,
start eating more of these. You might think that
secure the crime scene. They find the only evidence they find at the scene of the crime, the Canton police find, are what did they find? 6 droplets of blood, which they put in red Solo cups, and a broken cocktail glass. They did not find, he was also missing a shoe. Now, if you found a body on a front lawn with only one shoe on, you'd probably assume the other shoe is inside. You'd ask to look around at the very least. They don't find that suspect. There was no taillights, though. There's absolutely no taillight fragments when they first found the scene at 6 o'clock. So, Karen.
Can I interrupt real quick, though, just before I forget?
Yeah.
I will say that everything I've read said there was a tail light right there where he was found.
It was not. It was. Oh, we've published. I mean, it's all public record. The police reports, the Canton Police Department, Officers Saraf and Mullaney, and then their Lieutenants Gallagher, Good, and Lank. I know because I went and tried to speak with them today. I have more audio video on that coming out today. But not one of them reported seeing any taillight in their reports. Not one of them. There was no taillight there. And keep in mind, only 1 inch or 2 of snow had fallen. Now, Karen's freaking out, and Jenna has put it in her head the whole time when they were driving over there, saying, "Could you have hit him, Harry? Could you have hit him?" And she's like, "Did I hit him? Did I hit him?" She didn't know what was going on, and she's freaking out. She's experiencing trauma, and so people at the scene hear her say, "Oh my God, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Did I hit him?" Because who would ever think that this man, who, by the way, had his eyes completely blown out, if you guys have seen these autopsy photos, he had a gigantic gash in the back of his head. And oh yeah, he had clear, what appeared to be scratch marks and bite marks on his right forearm exclusively. There was no bruising anywhere else on his body, particularly in his torso or his midsection. There were no broken bones there. There was, however, black and blues all over his right hand. Or hit somebody the wrong way, that's what happens when you punch somebody in the face and it doesn't go right. So they find John like that. And for some reason, they immediately, they don't even think that this guy's beaten. Karen's freaking out about it. She gets sectioned involuntarily to go to the hospital. And while that's happening, there's this meeting going on. And they call in, the state police take over the investigation. And the lead investigator is a guy who lives in Canton. His name is Michael Proctor. And Michael Proctor failed to disclose that he has been a close family friend of the Alberts and the McCabe's for 2 decades, at least. He has known them for a long time, almost 25 years, actually. He has known them. Fails to mention this whatsoever. Does not follow any protocol. He brings the McCabe's and the Alberts, doesn't go in the house, doesn't interview him there, doesn't bring him back to the station, brings him to the McCabe's house where they have what we call the friends and family meeting. And the 4 of them sit as a group. He does not separate them and ask them questions differently. They all get to sit in a group and they have like a general discussion about what happened. And they all start blaming it on Karen. And their stories are completely inconsistent. For instance, Matt McCabe says that he looked outside and he saw a V-shaped, inverted V-shaped thing and tire marks in the road. But if you were to see tire marks in the road, would you not see a body directly in front of that? If you're close enough to see the tire marks in the road, how can you not see the 217-pound body that's also right in front of the tire marks? He doesn't mention anything about that. Now, there was at least 9 or 10 people in that house, at least. Not one of them, not a single one of them, when they left that house within an hour or two, reported seeing a body on the front lawn. We have since interviewed the plow driver by the name of Brian. Specifically told me in no unclear terms that he plowed that road at 2:30. And not only was there no body on the front lawn, he said it with affirmation, there was no body on that front lawn. We specifically asked, in your experience, would you have seen a body on the front lawn? It was 12 feet from the curb. Would you have seen that? And he said, absolutely, especially because it was right near a fire hydrant, and plow drivers are trained to make sure that they don't, especially around fire hydrants and stuff like that, that they don't plow them in. And so he's like, I would have been on the lookout for that. I go extremely slowly. So he does his plow through at 2:30. He comes back about an hour later, and he's about to go down the road and do another plow again. And he notices he can't do it because there's a Ford Edge sitting in front of the house in the exact spot where John's body is later located. Brian Albert drives a Ford Edge. Now, Lucky told me that he doesn't think it was Brian Albert's Ford Edge, but it narrows the population down to about less than 1% of the people who actually own a Ford Edge. So he was sitting there at 3:30 in the morning, acting as some sort of obstruction from the ring cameras. Now, at no point does the actor even attempt to ask any of the neighbors for any ring cameras or anything like that. They claim that Karen Reed drove out of there after hitting John in reverse, causing all that damage, going however many miles per hour. Somehow just that killed him, and he ended up with a cut in the back of his head and dog scratches on his arm, etc. Now, the taillight. Well, taillight, the state police did a search of the scene later on. They did a search at 5:45 p.m., the CERT team. And that was led by Michael Proctor. Michael Proctor claims in his official report that he went to Karen Reed's house in a town called, Karen Reed's parents' house, where she had gone, in a town called, which is about 5 minutes away from Canton, in the snow. And he went down there and he says he got there at 4:30 and that he had the car towed at 5:30. And the CERT team does their search at 5:45. That would mean, if that was true, that he could not have possibly gotten the car back to Canton for 5:45. However, alarm.com camera footage from the Reed household shows the car being towed not at 5:30 p.m. like Proctor claimed, but at 4:12 p.m. And that gives him 1 hour and 18 minutes unaccounted for with the car. Now, keep in mind, the state police have taken over the investigation this time. So the appropriate place for him to bring evidence like that, the essential murder weapon, they're saying, would be to bring it to the state police barracks in Middleborough, which is the closest one. But instead of bringing it there, they bring it to the Canton Police Department, who is no longer in charge of the investigation. It just so happens that the Canton Police Department is close to 34 Fairview Road. And magically, this time around, in their second search, the state police not only find John's missing shoe, a foot of snow has fallen, but they find the missing shoe that the Canton Police Department just completely missed. They just missed it. They missed a gigantic man's shoe. Oh, there it is, on top of a foot of snow. They also found multiple pieces of Karen's taillight, which were, get this, not beneath the snow, on top of the snow. Because I don't know if you know this, taillights have a tendency to rise like they're, that they can, like things that float in water. It rose to the top, and it was on top.
Okay, how many lies have we heard so far? Jesus. I mean, the rising of the taillight to the top of the snow was always a very stupid thing. I could not believe that people were repeating this. You could see that it was not like undisturbed snow. It was a shovel mark right next to it. The fact that people were believing that, my God, if I had repeated that, if I had still believed the conspiracy and was repeating that, I would be so mortified and so embarrassed. I mean, oh my God. I mean, a lot of the stuff has been cleared up in the trial, right? So we know it was loaded on the truck, but they necessarily didn't leave from Dighton at that time. They still interviewed her after that. And, it got into the Sally Port. I think it's funny, too, how he calls it a gigantic man's shoe. I mean, he was 6'2". It's not like he was 7 feet tall. But I guess anything compared to Turtle Boy is gigantic. I mean, my God, I think he probably would think I'm gigantic. I should go see him. He'd be like, this gigantic man came towards me. I just can't. The 1 inch of snow on the ground, I mean, that's a big thing. So the Canton police found him in the snow. They looked around the scene, but they were not digging through the snow. They did use the leaf blower to blow off the top levels of snow to get and that revealed the glass. But the glass, like they're saying, a clear glass, but they didn't find the red taillight. The glass had the base attached and the side attached to it. So the glass was like big, like it wasn't flat to the ground like the taillight pieces were. So that's a big piece there. And there was not 1 inch of snow. I think we saw the video. I don't know how many inches, but it was, it's enough to be plowing, right? So if Lucky Lawford started a shift at 2 a.m., there would have had to have been snow on the ground, because he says that he was not salting. He was not doing anything else. He was only plowing. So there had to have been enough snow at 2 a.m. to plow, which means at 6 a.m., there had to have been, a little bit more snow. So it's not like there was nothing. And we see it in the video. There's plenty of snow. So what else was there that he said? Oh, he completely left out anything about the niece, anything about Kerry Roberts saying he got hit by a plow. What else? That they were in the car convincing her, oh, did you hit him? Like, they would have thought that. Obviously, they didn't convince her to say, oh, she hit him. This is Cindy Gersh. She is big on TikTok. She has a small YouTube channel. But she has a larger TikTok. We did Cyber Sleuths together. Cyber Sleuths was the documentary about the Idaho 4, and that's going to be a crazy one that's coming. Oh, I can't deal with all these trials. But that basically the Cyber Sleuth show, I feel like it was a referendum on cyber sleuths, on true crime people. I was not one that they targeted, but they used my content throughout the show, like a lot. But the idea of that Cyber Sleuth show was to go after people like Turtle Boy, people that are exploiting unalivings for gain, right? And for, not necessarily to help the victims. And I think that's JLR is in that show, and they kind of I don't think he has a good edit at all on that show, so keep that in mind if you do watch it. It's on Paramount Plus. But JLR is the one that's he's threatening Turtle Boy. He's the one that went after Turtle Boy and Karen last year. So I mean, I think I support him for that. Bullhorn Betty was in it. There was a lot of people in it. So Bullhorn Betty, I'm trying to think. I think it was Bullhorn Betty, JLR, myself, Cindy. We were like the old ones, and then everyone else I think were like younger. But I'm trying to think of what else he said. He just says so many things. So let's see what's next, because there are some doozies in here.
Of the snowbank, and boom, they found it. So apparently the Canton Police Department missed all of this because they would have us believe that they are the most incompetent organization in the history of mankind. But I don't believe the Canton Police Department is that inept.
When I started drinking cold water to help me lose weight, my friends laughed at me. But when they saw how fast I was changing, they started.
A close family friend of the Alberts, who did not follow any protocol in this case that he normally would, lied about what time he took that car from Karen Reed's household and brought it to the Canton Police Department, which has nothing to do with this. I find it much more likable that Michael Proctor put that taillight there, and that is what the defense is alleging that he did.
So Dr. Turtleboy, I'm sorry. I feel like that's a really good overview, and a lot of people have been commenting that it's a really good overview. I want to give Boundless a little bit of chance too, just to kind of start off what his, unless there's anything else major you feel like you didn't get a chance to say in regards to the overview before we get into some questions.
I think I'm sure there's plenty I missed, but I'll come back to it.
Okay.
Let someone else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that was a really good overview. So Boundless feels and I think Doctor said at the beginning, Dr. Turtleboy, at the beginning, because I watched your videos, you thought Karen Reed also was innocent. Right? You did a video like
Google search.
And so
Google search. That's the one thing I forgot.
What'd you say? I'm sorry. Oh, yeah.
It's a really big piece. Sorry.
Yeah.
So at 2:27 a.m., it was discovered about a year later when Jennifer McCabe handed over her phone that she had Googled how long to die in cold at 2:27 a.m., which is a bizarre thing to Google if you believe that this man has just not come to the party, that he never went in the house. He probably went home. He didn't answer his phone. Why would she search how long to die in cold at that time? So
yeah, that is a very, very valid point. And that is what has made me, I'll be honest, that's like hey, Junior, that's like the one thing that I cannot get over at all. So Boundless, again, like I said, you at first were thinking, like that Karen was innocent. What made you change? And let's talk a little bit about what your thoughts are in regards to why Karen is, in your mind, guilty.
So I think originally, I pulled and the taillight being found, and like a piece of the taillight, I think you didn't mention, was found a few weeks later. But I think overall, just like reading through the documents and her waking up his kids at his daughter at 4:30 in the morning and just in a panic saying, call your father. And he's not answering. And then she starts calling all these people saying, I think he's dead. Like, why would you think that? So just like the way that she was saying a lot of the stuff, like he must have got hit by a plow, like before she even left the house.
Yes,
and then her taillight was smashed out. She didn't know how it was broken. She mentioned that to people. And so like when she leaves the driveway, you see her like come close to his car or maybe hit it. Like the defense is saying she hit it and that's why she broke her taillight. But I mean, if she hit it, it was like a tap and like her bulb was gone. So like it definitely wasn't from that. So I don't know. I just think that whole thing is just, and like, how would she even know that it was broken at that point? Because she said it to people when she got there and she was saying it like that morning. So like, when did you check her taillight? Because you wouldn't check it just randomly, right? Like, unless you hit something, especially if it's snowing out and it's freezing. Like, why would you like walk around your car and look at the back unless you knew you hit something? And so his daughter said she changed her story multiple times. The first thing she said was, the last time I saw him was at the bar. And then Jen McCabe was like, she was on the phone with Jen McCabe. And Jen McCabe was like, no, I saw your car in front of the house. And then she said, oh, we got in an argument and I dropped him off. So that was like his daughter's testimony. So I don't think she's like part of the cover up. I think she would want the person held accountable that killed her uncle, her father. It's her uncle, but he was raising her. So it's kind of like her father. Both of her parents had died. So I don't think that she would go after someone like in the house with them. And so I think that morning she was hysterical, kind of saying a lot of things to a lot of people. And I think all those statements are kind of, the big thing. That's why nobody questioned anything, because she was saying I hit him to first responders, to the people that she was with. Just a lot of people heard her say that. So like nobody really questioned what happened, because he was on the side of the road. And like they found the taillight later, but it had been snowing, and I don't think the Canton Police Department had shoveled. So like the CERT team came back with shovels.
Nope.
The CERT team, they have a video of the CERT team with shovels digging out the snowbanks, because when you plow, the plow
Don't
just takes
shovel
everything.
1 inch of snow. There was 1 inch of snow.
Do you want to let him finish real quick?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he hasn't had a chance to speak. Sorry. Go ahead.
The plows had come by. So even if it's 1 inch of snow, the plows are going to take whatever's in the street and push it all over the place and push it into snowbanks. So it's not like whatever happened would be right where it was left. The plows push things down the street. So like there were snowbanks at that point. So, I mean, the plow definitely came and pushed. That's why a shoe was in the snowbank as well. So they came back and they were shoveling. They found the taillight. They found the shoe. So, and I think another thing that's kind of like really suspicious on Karen Reed's part is she was always at that house, and she went back to the house that day after, she got sectioned and was acting crazy, and she blew a .08. So she was still drunk from the night before. And then she's on video the night before drinking 7 vodkas in like an hour and a half. It's all in the probable cause. And so the family was even like, she was acting weird. The family was like, I don't know. Until she has her father come from Dighton and pick up the murder weapon and drive it back to his house. It's like, if he really, I mean, why would he take her car? Like, why wouldn't he just pick her up? So he takes the car, with the damage on it, and takes it all the way to Dighton. And a little suspicious. Like, he would have just picked her up. Mm-hmm. And so then later on that day, so like earlier in the day, she only said she blacked out. She didn't see him. She told a few people she doesn't even remember going to that house that night. And then she changed it to they got in an argument. And then when she had time to talk to her father, then she came up with, she did a 3-point turn. So then that was a statement that she gave at that point. And so that was the statement at that point in time. And then I think she wasn't caught on the camera that she would have had to have been caught on. So they were caught on a bunch of CCTV footage. She wasn't caught on the camera that she should have been caught on if she did do a 3-point turn. So then she changed it and said that she did see him go in the house. Now she's saying she did see him go in the house. The first statement came out, she said she never saw him go in the house. Now she says she did. There's just a lot of things. Even Yannetti.
it seems like a lot of what you're saying is like so you're saying it was in the affidavit, because some of the things you're saying is like, she said, I heard that, that this person said this. So
this is all from the affidavit.
Everything you said is from the affidavit.
Oh, a lot of it's just made up. Not a lot of that's just completely untrue.
And that's all comes from Proctor.
You're confused
from the statement. So,
for instance, Karen Reed never said she did a 3-point turn. That's just untrue.
Well, it's in the affidavit that she
Michael
said that.
Proctor said that Karen Reed said she did.
I know everyone in the country is lying except for her.
Yeah, Michael Proctor. Do you think Michael Proctor is an honest person?
I mean, why not?
Can you explain
let's talk about Michael
Can you
Proctor.
explain really quickly who Michael Proctor is? A lot of people don't even know this case.
Michael Proctor is the investigative detective from the state police who never revealed that he is a close family friend of everyone who's basically was in that house that night.
I don't think he's a close family friend. I don't think
you don't.
Germans have figured out a way to increase 15 times without using any energy.
So Michael Proctor had never met Brian Albert and Jen McCabe before that day. He knew Chris Albert, who was not at the house, and Julie Albert, and Colin Albert, who was at the house earlier in the night.
I know that he is a close family friend. This is undeniable because his sister is his sister got married in 2012. We have their wedding photo. Who was in that wedding? Do you know? Do you know who the ring bearer was in that wedding? His name is Colin Albert. He's he would otherwise be the prime suspect in this because he was inside that house and he had bloody knuckles weeks later and a black eye. We have pictures of him. He was not even questioned by Michael Proctor. The involvement of Colin Albert in this at all should have automatically gotten Michael Proctor to say, I cannot be involved in this. I have too close ties to these families. It's undeniable his relation to them. We have images from 2017 of Trooper Proctor in uniform with an image with Jennifer McCabe's 2 youngest daughters in the picture with him. It's undeniable that he knows these people extremely well. The mere fact that he did not disqualify himself from this is dishonest in and of itself. That's number one. Number two, we know as a matter of fact, it is undeniable that Trooper Proctor lied about what time that car was towed from the home in Dighton. Michael Proctor claims that that car was towed at 5:30. We have video footage, undeniable video footage of that car being towed at 4:12.
But even with all that, she hit something, right? Something broke her taillight and she doesn't know.
She barely cracked the taillight. When you see her
the
pull
bulb
out
is
of the
gone
house,
when she's leaving the driveway, so it's shattered.
Is what?
The bulb is not lit up when she's leaving. It's not just cracked, it's shattered.
You ever seen you know what a Lexus taillight does when it crashes, when it hits something like that? It inverts. You can see in that taillight that there was one small part that is not lit up. She had backed into John's car. It clearly moved. It's undeniable that the car moved.
Yeah, but that wouldn't take the bulb out.
As soon as she let go, as soon as she hit brake, that bulb lit up. It was
the brake lights are still working, but the tail light was out.
Right. So clearly it was not that damaged. But yet later on, gigantic chunks of taillight magically appear at the scene. And now we have a video of the car. The light is completely gone. Every single bulb, everything's gone from it within a couple months. It's just all gone. And it was all under Michael Proctor's watch, the man who never revealed that he's close family friends of several of the people who were inside that house who would otherwise be considered prime suspects, including the woman who Googled how long to die in cold at 2:27. Michael Proctor lied about what time he towed that car from her house, giving him 1 hour and 18 minutes alone with said car. And additionally, just to show how dishonest Michael Proctor is, on his official report, in one paragraph alone, he misspelled the names of 5 witnesses wrong. 5 people who were in the house that night, including Caitlin Albert, the daughter of Brian Albert. He misspelled her name wrong. He misspelled the name Catherine Duty wrong, even though her father was the chief of the fire department and is now the town administrator, and he has his last name on yard signs. That's how common the Duty name is in in Canton. Sarah Levinson's name was spelled wrong. Emily Fabiano's name was spelled wrong. There was and Julie Nagel's name were all spelled wrong. This was clear. Like, ask any police officer who does this. They do not spell names wrong in reports like that. If you screw up once, that's a big no-no. If every single name in the whole report is spelled wrong, that is not an accident. That is deception. Lastly, we know Michael Proctor lied because when I spoke with Lucky Loughran, the man who plowed that yard, and reported that there was absolutely 100% no body on that front lawn. In Michael Proctor's plowed that road. That there was no, he's never, I asked Lucky Loughran, have you ever spoken to Michael Proctor? You're the prime witness for this. No, he said. Again, would you talk to Michael Proctor if he spoke to you? Absolutely. But he never reached out to the only man who could actually say that there was no body on that front lawn. And he lied in his report because he said that the GPS in the truck was down.
Okay, but so let me nobody really saw the body on the front lawn except for Karen Reed because she knew exactly where it was.
Incorrect. That's
like
just
nobody
saw it. Lucky Loughran saw it.
Yeah, but nobody saw it in the morning. Like nobody saw
at
the body.
2:30 in the morning. Lucky Loughran saw it.
He saw the body?
Yes, he saw the body.
So why wasn't an ambulance called then if he saw a body at 2:30 in the morning?
No, I apologize. He apologized. He did not see a body. I misquoted. He did not. There was no body on the lawn at 2:30 a.m. Sorry about that. Nobody on the lawn at 2:30 a.m. So what does that tell you?
They weren't there yet? I mean, if you say...
It means Karen Reed didn't kill him.
I mean, I feel like he probably could have not seen it, though. I mean, a lot of people didn't see the body, though. Like when she got there in the morning.
So you're telling sworn testimony from the plow driver is just wrong. That's your assertion?
I mean, is that sworn testimony?
Yes, he signed an affidavit.
So I want to ask this, though, because a lot of people are saying that there's actually missing footage from that night.
Mm-hmm.
Wellness, I'm going to start with you on that. What do you know about that? Can you speak to that?
So I think it's strange that they're only worried about that footage. So like, I guess there was a bunch of footage that they were caught on when they were driving there. And then in the morning, she was caught driving back to the house before she picked up the other two people to find the body. So she kind of like scoped out, was like, yeah, his body's still there. And then she picked up the other two. So like, she's caught on all those cameras, but then when she was leaving the house, she's not caught on. But footage that's missing from when she left, but I don't think I think it's too early for when she would have left because his phone didn't stop moving until 12:31. So I don't know. Like I don't think
confused. You seem to be confused. So let me tool you in on this. So the Canton Library is in the middle of town and they have a perfect view. Karen Reed dropped John off at 12:20, stuck around there for 10 minutes. He was supposed to text her back, never did. So she just goes home. And on her way home, she went by hundreds of houses that have Ring cameras. How do I know that? Because I knocked on their doors and I said, was your Ring camera working that night? And did Michael Proctor or anyone from the state police come and ask you for them? All of them definitively said, no, that never happened. They never asked me. Because if she had just hit him and broken her taillight, there would be ample amounts of video showing Karen Reed evading the scene of the crime, fleeing the scene of the crime with the broken taillight. The Canton Library would also have been on her path home. And the Canton Library, the video was working all night and all the next day. The only time it malfunctioned, and there was just no video, was between 12:37 a.m. and 12:39 a.m., which happens to be the exact same time that Karen Reed drove by the Canton Library. It's quite the coincidence that it just magically stopped working when Karen Reed drove by, and it would have shown without a doubt that her taillight was either broken or not broken. And it just wasn't working. And of course, who's the one that told us it wasn't working? Michael Proctor, the man who has lied about everything in this, not disclosed anything, not disclosed any family relationships or anything like that. And there's a lot of that going on in this case. Things that, could exonerate Karen Reed just disappear. I guess we're supposed to think that's normal.
Miss, what are your thoughts on that? I know you spoke a little bit. I mean, it sounds like to me a little bit videos from the library.
So yeah, for sure. But her defense team says stuff like this all the time. Like at first when they were saying dog bites, like I did think that until I started looking at it. And I was like, there's no way that's dog. They say a lot of bullshit.
Let's talk about the library video.
So the library video, like, if that is the only minutes that are missing, then yes, that's strange. But I don't know. I don't even think that would be the time that she was passing.
It was. Because they have the time. They have it before that, and they have it after that. And
Yeah, but we don't know.
Read before or after.
Yeah, but she might not have been.
Because
If she did run him over, she might not have went to his house right away, right? She might have went home, and then
they got her at home on the Ring camera footage at 12:41. It's undeniable that she went by there.
They don't have her on the Ring camera footage. She deleted that.
No, they have that. She did not delete anything. What's your evidence that she deleted Ring camera footage?
It says it in the affidavit.
It doesn't say that in the affidavit.
They asked the kids to. Okay, so this is really funny because he's acting like he doesn't know the Ring camera footage is deleted. And Paul O'Keefe literally was, let's see if I still have that. Let's go back to Paul O'Keefe. Paul O'Keefe, this article, you can look it up. I think it's from before August. Turtle Boy knows damn well that the Ring camera footage is deleted. So he's acting like he never heard this before. Like, he is such a fraud. He is literally working with the killer to lie and spread disinformation. I mean, I feel like this is so obvious. If I can find this, I got to go back and find this article, like the date. But I mean, he's acting like, oh, the Ring camera footage, nothing was deleted. And think about it. Now they're saying, oh, well, we think Proctor, we think the police deleted it. Now they're saying that. So if that was the case at the time, he would have been clear as day. Proctor deleted the footage. But no, he's denying that anything was deleted because he knows that she did it. Like, I mean, it's as clear as day. You can't be this slow. Like, you can't be this slow and actually be like a functioning human. It's like insane. Who has access to the Ring cam because the Ring cam's missing, and they said Karen does for their main computer.
And did the kids say that Karen deleted it?
Well, no, but they're asking who has access to it.
Yeah,
Only
you know
Karen
what?
had access to it.
The state police also had access to it.
So that I mean, that does seem, if it is, could she have gone a different way? Is there any other explanation to that her not,
I would think if she was really fighting with him, why would she go back to his house? If she just ran him over, I feel like she probably took off and then she started to come back and was like, oh, he'll probably be home.
Yes, that's a great question you just asked.
What about the dog bites? Now, I've seen a lot about this with Boundless. You're saying that those are the marks on his arm are from a dog, correct? Is that what your thought? I want to hear.
I don't think they're from a dog.
What do you think they're from?
I mean, I can see
like. Doctor, you think they're from a dog? I apologize.
I know they're from a dog.
If they're from Doctor, you feel that they're from Dr. Turtleboy. You feel that they're from a dog.
That's correct.
In Boundless, you're saying no, that's from the car.
I think that I can see motion in the front where, like, something kind of scraped by, and that's kind of what it would look like. We know the taillight shattered, and he also had a glass that shattered. So, like, getting hit 25, 30 miles an hour, it's going to be like shrapnel.
25, 30 miles an hour? How do you go that fast in reverse?
Doing if you're drunk and crazy.
How do you do that?
I mean,
how much distance do you need to accelerate to 25 to 30 miles an hour going in reverse in a 3-point turn? How much distance do you need? Have you done the math on that?
I don't think she did a 3-point turn at all.
Oh, so she just drove forward and then.
I think she was dropping him. I think they were fighting because he wanted to go there. Maybe he didn't want her to come in. And,
maybe.
And like she was like pissed off and started driving away and then slammed it in reverse.
So let me get this straight. So in order for her to be able to accelerate to that speed, she would have needed to go, 50, 100 yards forward, correct? In order to accelerate to 27 miles an hour going back, right?
Probably.
And so we are to assume then, according to your theory, that John O'Keefe she's all mad at him. And so he's like, I'm just going to stand here in the street and allow you to run me over.
Well, his right arm was hit, so it was from behind.
Cocktail glass.
What did the autopsy say? That's a good question, Brett. What did the autopsy say about the marks on his arm?
They said, well, keep in mind, the medical examiner was told when she did the autopsy 3 days later that this man was hit by a car. It is her job then to work backwards and figure out a way to explain that.
So she said that they were from the car then, essentially.
She didn't say what it was from. She said it was blunt force trauma.
And hypothermia.
And hypothermia, correct.
So like that's the thing too, hypothermia. So if they were to plant his body on the lawn, if he would have still been alive, so they would have had to kill him in the house and been, oh, we could just plant him on the lawn.
Michael Wade is feeling healthy.
Running a 5K.
Loving how I feel.
More.
Yeah.
And in the hopes that Karen Reed mysteriously hit something else that night, it just doesn't make any sense.
Doctor, I do have a question.
That's a great point.
What is their motive? The people inside, those 12 people inside the home. What is their motive?
Colin and John were neighbors, and they did not get along. Colin is, I don't know if you've seen the Colin Albert videos. Colin Albert gets in fights a lot. Colin Albert's a punk. Colin Albert threatens people, and he did not like his neighbor, John O'Keefe. He had gotten into issues with him. John basically was a get off my lawn guy because Colin was throwing beer cans on his lawn, and John would come out and yell at him, and Colin say, "Who the fuck you talking to? Like, you're not going to disrespect me like that." And the Alberts are a name in Canton. Nobody messes with the Alberts. And I'm sure Brian didn't appreciate the fact that this new, younger Boston cop is disrespecting his nephew like that. And so John gets in there. We don't know exactly what happened. I don't know exactly how it went down. But John and Colin did not get along. So perhaps John went in there and Colin said something to him, and the two of them got in a fight. And maybe John was winning that fight because, oh, yeah, he had bruises all over his arm, all over his hand, indicating that he was punching something.
Well, it was back of his hand, not his knuckles. So like the back of his hand, that's usually when you fall.
Have you ever broken? Have you ever been in a fight before like that?
I've never had the back of my hand bruised.
Oh, I have. It looks exactly like that. It's called a boxer's fracture. I punched my best friend in the head about 20 years ago, and I was stuck in a cast for 6 weeks because he had a big, thick head, kind of like Colin Albert did. And so he punched, like, it is very likely that some sort of fight broke out. Now, if a fight breaks out, and John went down swinging, if a fight breaks out in that house, Brian Albert is not, who's Brian Albert going to side with? Colin, his nephew, his blood, or this guy he barely knows, John O'Keefe?
But the thing is, though, is that Jen McCabe was that was her 8 years. She's just calmly going to already be. She's going to already be. She's going to be planning this out, though.
Like, what is in the affidavit in regards to? And I know, listen, Dr. Turtleboy, I know your whole thought is whatever's. They could have written whatever the hell they wanted in the affidavit because she was framed. So they're going to make, just like you said, with them finding his shoe later and the tail light later. What does the affidavit actually say in regards to the actual accident? No witnesses, right? No witnesses besides Karen. No one heard anything from the outside.
They just saw the car out front and then they started driving away.
Okay.
Nobody saw it driving away either.
I think it says
not a single person can say they drove. Not a single witness says they saw it driving away, including Ryan Nagel, the witness who pulled up right behind her and told police that he did not see John. He said that no one was in the car with John and no one was outside of her car. So John wasn't in the car, and
he pulled up right behind her, so he would have saw her get out.
What?
He would have saw her. He would have saw him get out. Though,
but answer my question: where was he?
I mean, that was one of the questions that I had too, because like how it's saying he's going up a flight of stairs. I'm like, did she drop him off down the road or something? But like, I don't think so because.
So, but do we agree? We agree if Karen Reed had hit him with her car, his body would have been directly next to the car.
Unless, do you agree with that, or think that he would have moved if it was she hit him so hard, or anything?
I mean, I feel like he could have crawled a little bit, maybe, but
then
like,
why didn't Ryan Nagel see the body?
I don't think she hit him at that point when they were still there.
So where was he? So then where was he?
I think he was in the car and they just didn't see him.
But so the witnesses are wrong. So all the witnesses are just wrong.
But like he pulled up.
That's your defense, is that the witnesses, the plow driver.
Wait. Pulled up on the car behind her.
Yeah.
And he was picking up his sister at the same house, looking at the door where his sister should come out of, and he didn't see someone get out of Karen Reed's car and walk in that same fucking
But you're
door.
not answering the question. Where was John?
He didn't see him get out, so he had to have been in the car.
Oh, so
he
then
didn't see him get out of the car.
he testified. All three of them actually say that there was no one in the car with Karen. So where was he? Are they wrong? You're saying that they're wrong, Ryan.
Yeah, but you're talking about a witness driving by a car at night while it's snowing. Unless they all turn their head around and gawked in the car, you're not going to see someone.
They said they did. They said the interior lights were on and that she was sitting at 10 and 2, and that she was alone. So where was?
So you think it's more likely that they missed him in the car than they missed a 6'2", 220-pound guy get out of the car and walk in the fucking house that they're waiting for their friend to come out of? How would they miss that? It's much more likely that they missed him not seeing it sitting in the car.
Oh, okay. So Ryan Nagel's just wrong. So that's your position.
I'm just saying, think about it logically.
Okay. You're being logical. You're telling me that all the eyewitnesses who tell me that there was no body on that front lawn and that he was not in the car, they're just wrong. That's your defense of your position, is that the witnesses are all wrong.
Yeah, but you're talking about they didn't see someone get out of the car, a huge guy get out of the car and walk in the house. The same house that they were waiting for their friend to come out the front door. Like, how would they miss that? They couldn't.
Karen drops him off directly in the driveway. He gets out of the car. Is he going to walk to the door or run?
But their car was directly behind them. He had to let her turn down the street, so they were driving right behind her car. And she was probably driving slow because she didn't know which house it was.
There was what?
And she was probably driving slow as shit because she didn't know which house it was.
So but she was in front. John gets out of the car and he runs to the door. That is what happens. She says that's what she says happened, that he ran to the door.
She says that now.
She said that before.
Originally, she said
everything that you're reading. Proctor says that. Michael Proctor is a known liar.
Yeah, but even Yannetti came out and was saying this was an accident and all this, in the beginning.
What happened at the beginning? Could anybody have possibly thought that something so heinous happened? No, that was my initial thought. This is a horrible accident. That was my initial thought. Then I see the autopsy photos and I start to do this wild thing called thinking for myself. Instead of just blindly believing what some corrupt state trooper who lies about everything is telling me. I'm going to do this thing where I think for myself. I recommend
those black eyes are not from getting punched. Those black eyes are from a skull fracture because his eyelids are filled with blood and it's leaking out the side.
Skull fracture. Do skull fractures often happen when you land on grass?
But wasn't he on the road or snow?
No,
but I pulled the affidavit up right now, so I'm going to
12 feet from the curb on the grass.
Or on the mulch.
No, on the grass.
Well,
the mulch is 16 feet from the curb. I've known because I've gone in that lawn and I've lied down on it and we've driven by it.
Okay, let me read what the affidavit says. So I just want to read this to you guys really quick. On January 29th, 2022, approximately 6:04 a.m., the Canton Police Department received a 911 call from a woman reporting a male party subsequently identified as victim John O'Keefe, found in the snow, so that's all it really says, outside 34 Fairview Road. At the time of the 911 call, there was an active blizzard occurring with heavy snow and the temperature was in the teens. And then it goes on to say that Officer Seraph was the first to arrive on the scene and that her cruiser camera footage admitted as the grand jury, the footage depicts the weather and visibility conditions during the officer's transit and arrival to the scene, blah, blah, blah. So then she goes and says that 3 females were laying her down, right? Jeff Cave, Carrie Robert, and Reed. And that's when they observed him to be cold to the touch and not breathing. So it doesn't say exactly where he was, but it does say there was,
Oh, it says in the other part. I mean, that you're reading page 1 of like a 20-something page document. He was found 12 feet from the curb, it says.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, no, that's not really everybody. Both parties agree on that he was found 12 feet from the curb on grass. So they are to have us believe that he was hit in reverse, caused no damage no bruising to his midsection. No bones broken, no pelvis broken, no legs broken, nothing like that. Most people would probably put their arms up if somebody's backing into them. It would probably break their arm.
He was hit from behind, though.
It says that they walked outside with Miss McCabe and observed the victim and defendant to walk out together and proceeded to the left of the driveway and up Washington Street, where the vehicle was parked along the curb facing back towards the waterfall. He indicated that the vehicle was also parked along Washington Street, but further down and facing the opposite direction.
You're talking about when they're at the bar.
Oh, this is from the bar? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
we'll be here all night if you read that affidavit.
No, I know. I've read it before, but go ahead. Sorry, I'm just trying to find where it says where he was found.
Like that affidavit is just they have so little facts and evidence that they spend the majority of the charging documents talking about what Karen Reed drank at the bar. Most of that entire charging document, I know everything Karen Reed did at the Waterfall bar. I don't know much about what happened at 34 Fairview Road because there's hardly anything in there about it.
But why do you think that it got upgraded from manslaughter to murder?
Well, it had to be upgraded from manslaughter to murder because when they tested the car out afterwards, the brakes worked and the rear camera worked. And if you've ever been in a newer car like that, it yells it. It's like if you get too close to something. It would have been impossible for her to accidentally run him over. So either this was intentional. So
it does say, I do want to point this out, that it does say when the paramedics arrived and lifted the body onto the stretcher, they observed grass underneath the victim's back.
Yeah.
So, and covered, and then had snow on him. So, that.
Don't you hate that when grass and snow causes a skull fracture and a gigantic gash in the back of your head and lacerations, parallel lacerations, multiple ones, exclusively on your right arm? That's some wacky grass, man. I don't know what's up with the grass again.
Well, no, if he was hitting from behind, which is what it seems like, because his lacerations, like from a motion, like a car running against you, going, a certain speed, is gonna hit your arm. The glass that he was holding is shattered all over and stuck in her bumper.
It's not. Oh, really? How do you know that's how do you know that's the glass?
Well, that's what the affidavit said. So
no, it's not what they said. That a piece of glass was found on the right rear corner panel, and that's that one magical piece of glass, which we don't know what that glass is from, survived a 100-mile round trip road to Dighton, back and forth in a snowstorm, and that one little piece of glass just stayed on the quarter panel. Well, I guess she must have killed him. It does say that. She must have killed him.
Yeah. It says that that there was a piece of broken glass on her bumper, like a little tiny piece of broken glass on her bumper. And it says they located a broken cocktail-style glass in multiple patches of red that appeared to be blood in the vicinity of where the body had been located. The officers secured the glass and 6 blood samples. So that's kind of back to your point, that 6 blood samples is evidence.
Yeah, so like if you bled out on the front lawn like he did, he had a gigantic gash in the back of the head, there would be a pool of blood around you. It would be everywhere.
Yeah, but there's no snow beneath him. So like,
oh, it disappears in the snow.
No, there was no snow beneath him.
There's no snow beneath him.
So he's going. Oh, so exhausting. I mean, he was soaked down to his boxers. So this is another thing that they take out of context. I don't think he says it here, but he had vomit on his boxers. Like, how could that be? That means he was standing up and it was just in his boxers. No. He was soaked down to his boxers in a mixture of melted snow, blood, and vomit. So there was blood there seeping into the ground. There was a lot of blood. Karen was covered in blood. She even says it herself. She thought she had her period. So the 6 samples or the 5 samples that they picked up with the solo cups was blood drops around him, which may have been from them giving him CPR and might have been, dripping off of them. It could have been from when Karen pulls that mysterious piece of glass out of his nose and she cut herself. We don't know. Like if she came back earlier and pulled that piece of glass out of his nose while he was still alive. It could have been from him coughing and like blood splatter. Like, so, I mean, there's a lot of different things that those blood drops could have come from. I think it's unclear. Going into the ground, but no snow beneath him also means that he was out there when it started snowing, probably.
But that really is like, That's not a lot of blood. I mean, let's be honest. 6 drops of blood, like that
You
is.
see the pictures of it with the red Solo cups that they got probably from inside the house because they were having a party in there and the house wasn't searched. I wonder how much blood was inside that house. Why didn't they search the house, Boundless Millennial?
But there would have been footprints too. Footprints going out there. Any blood trails from the house? No footprints. So like, when did they put him out there? If they did plant his body out there,
they put him out there at 3:45 when Lucky Loughran saw the Ford Edge sitting on front of the road. That's when they put the body out there.
I'm trying to. So let's get back to sort of what I know we talked about. And so, Boundless, to your point, why do you feel that she did it? What was her motive? Because I had read they got into a fight at the bar, they had been fighting, or do you think it was just accident because she was drunk?
I mean, I think it was just like a drunken rage. Like, I don't think she meant to kill him. I don't think she realized it because she wouldn't have kept calling him. But like, I mean, she had to have intentionally hit him with the car. I mean, I don't see another option because of the way that, Jennifer McCabe was texting him right away. So like, she wouldn't have been in her head like, oh, let's like plan this murder right now as soon as he walked in the house, because for everything to be true, he would have been attacked immediately when he walked in the house while Karen Read was still sitting outside. And so that means that everyone in the house was so organized to start texting him like, oh, John, when are you coming in the house? Pull up behind me.
What time did she text him?
12:31 and 12:41.
So what time was he going up and down the stairs? Oh, what time was he going up and down the stairs?
12:21 to 12:24.
That's correct. So he was going up and down the stairs between 12:21 and 12:24.
But Waze says he didn't get there till 12:24.
The Waze does not say that. Adam Lally says that. The Waze does not say that.
Do we have the Waze?
No, because they haven't entered into evidence. They've shown nothing.
Very important piece. He's saying the Waze does not say that. We don't have the Waze. They're not giving us any of the evidence.
Every single thing that you've been told is.
But let's go back to these texts. Okay, so if we look at the one on the left, this is when Natalie was filtering messages to Turtle Boy from Karen. So she gave him the autopsy picture. She gave him like all these stuff. So if anyone asked, Turtle Boy got it from the medical examiner's office. Death certificate I can give. I can't give the whole medical examiner report. It's over 100 pages. And then she says, yes, I overshot Fairview. That's why Ryan Nagel saw me approach from the west on Cedar Crest. This is not public. It's from John's Ways. Please tell Turtle Boy my path of travel is not public. His article mistakenly said I took a left on Fairview. It was a right. So he's on here ranting and raving that they don't have the Waze, that the DA's office is holding it back, but we have this text. Karen's telling him they have the Waze. So in this one on the right, he says, why did she do a 3-point turn by the flagpole and not the driveway? Right? Makes no sense. She didn't do a 3-point turn. Did she forget that she didn't? Why would she ever believe she hit him? Oh, and this one's important. This one has a date on it. April 25th. April. This video where he's claiming that they don't have the Waze is August. Like 4 months later, they've had the Waze all this time. So off the record, I entered the street from Cedar Crest. This is not public and will be in a later motion per John's Waze. She had the Waze the whole time. Turtle Boy's like filtering information based on what Karen Read tells him to do. He's not being an investigative reporter. He should not have journalist privilege. He is not trying to investigate this case. He is literally pushing out Karen Read's narrative. And everyone should see this. And people that are still following him, still thinking that he's objectively looking at anything, you're an idiot. Like, it's as plain as day. April 25th. He's ranting and raving that they held back the Waze. So she says, I never backed up at all. Turtle Boy, we haven't revealed that publicly and are saving it for a bigger motion. but we don't need to promote the 3-point turn story. That is from Jen and Matt McCabe's near identical grand jury testimony. Now, Jen and Matt McCabe never said she did a 3-point turn. I think Matt McCabe said he saw tire tracks like a V, but a V would suggest that you are still going the same direction, wouldn't it? Very interesting. So Turtle Boy is kind of getting mad because he doesn't think the story's right. So he's saying, I'm the only one in the media who has her back. She owes it to me to be fully transparent. I've proven my trustworthiness. And then Natalie says, all calls were deleted. Some were recovered. That's why we motioned last week. We believe there were at minimum deleted texts. So I can't answer hypotheticals. Jen knew he was brutally hurt, and that's why she drove home the girls that were supposed to spend the night. What girls were supposed to spend the night? Like Julie Nagel wasn't spending the night. Julie Nagel's brother came to pick her up, and she said, oh no, Jen's going to give me a ride home. So then Turtle Boy says, but she didn't know he was in the cold. Because he wasn't. According to the defense is making Jen McCabe's case for her. And then she says, call her on Signal. Because Turtle Boy is freaking out. Turtle Boy is freaking out at this point because he put out a blog and they were completely backtracking on it. He put out a blog, he went after Jen McCabe, the How's Long to Die in Cold thing, and then suddenly Lucky Loughran enters. And Lucky Loughran's nothing new. Lucky Loughran they talked to back in January right after it happened. So Lucky Loughran's testimony should have been nothing new. But suddenly they're like, oh, well, then he wasn't outside at 2:30 a.m. or whatever time Lucky Loughran's going to pretend that he went by the house. So then Turtle Boy's freaking out because he's like, well, How's Long to Die in Cold doesn't make sense. Why would she be Googling that if he's not even out in the cold? Which, think about it. It really doesn't make sense. So Turtle Boy says, just tried twice and didn't answer. What on earth is going on? I wish you wouldn't jerk my chain like this. Hello? So on the right, but don't show the exhibits, just read them. Exhibits are my personal slides. He can show the drivewayalarm.com pic. And so that's, the alarm.com, we saw the video in the trial, but Turtle Boy put just the pic of, the taillight. And it's very important because I think I do lives on TikTok where it's like a panel and there's a bunch of people. And for the most part, if the people are reasonable, they suddenly are like, yeah, I think Karen Reed's guilty now after I explained some things. But the pic that they have is this one, and it's at the perfect point where her taillight looks like it's not broken. But there's a video. So when you watch the video, you can see that. I mean, it's not that clear in that video. But, there's other videos, the 8 a.m. video. There's the 5 a.m. video before, anyone knew anything. The lights are out at 8 a.m. before anyone even knew to look at her car. There's no red pieces at all. So, I mean, there's no logical explanation whatsoever as to what could have happened. So then she says, please tell him not to share the title. It has Yannetti's initials in it, DRY. Done. So she's filtering evidence through Turtle Boy so he can harass the witnesses. We don't know what happened after this because once Natalie dropped off, she was talking to Turtle Boy directly. And at that point, he was getting his way, right? Because you can see that he's kind of struggling here. He doesn't believe the story. It keeps changing. I know there's another one where he's like, I'm afraid of what I tied myself to. So then at this point in this one, she's like, Patrick is wearing a jersey with his uncle's murderers on it. That right there is just so disgusting, where she's sending the picture of Patrick at a Little League game or something, the 9-year-old whose uncle she unalived, and saying he's wearing a shirt with D&E pizza on it. Because the local businesses sponsor the Little League. It is just so disgusting. And then she says, Kerry Roberts is a effing C. Always has been. Had Patrick kicked out of the pool the summer after his parents died because he didn't pay $5. I mean, that obviously is a lie because when did the parents die? In 2009? Isn't he like not like, I don't know how old he is now, but at the time he was like 9 years old. So what was he, like 3? She kicked him out of the pool when he was 3? He was at the pool by himself when he was 3? Shut up. And then she's like, yes, in blue. If he calls the realtor, ask him why. And so this was when the Alberts were selling their house, or they had just sold their house. Maybe they were selling it. Ask him why private showings only and no one was allowed to take photos. Like, she is the sketchiest person I think I've ever seen. And then Turtle Boy's, someone's asking, do you know Carl James? Does she? I guess it must be Turtle Boy. Off the record, I never believed I hit him. I thought maybe he changed his mind and ran after my car for a ride, and I clipped him and he passed out. Yeah. And the taillight, ejaculated all over him? Stop it. One thing I can tell you, I never thought that morning that his friends and a BPD coworker left him to die like roadkill. No, Karen, you let him die like roadkill. I think it's blatantly obvious. Every report that says I hit him is authored by Michael Proctor. I was screaming, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? I don't see much of a difference. She should have been screaming. If he went in the house, she should have been screaming, what happened inside that house? Why is the only question she's asking, could I have hit him? Because she did hit him. My God. So then this text, she's saying, that's my beach bag in front of that pig. I don't even know who she's talking about because I can't see the picture. His response was awesome. John's family sucks. Please tell Turtle Boy he will get all the credit from my camp when this blows up and when I talk to Dateline next. Can you tell him that Laura Sullivan is not a friendly? She testified against me. She's the fat ass in blue crying in court while Jen McCabe rubs her back. I mean, these comments are similar to Proctor's comments about Karen Reed, except Proctor's comments were driven by disgust at the unaliving and the manner in which he found John O'Keefe, in the manner in which he was unalived. These texts are in response to people that are grieving their friend that she unalived. Like, it is just mind-boggling that people are like so deluded. It is so sick. And then on the right, can you send this to Karen? This is May 16th. Done. Awesome. Good. F. Paul O'Keefe. And so when it's in quotations, that means it's directly from Karen. I think that's what they said. So I don't know if on the left, if those, I mean, I would assume those are definitely directly from Karen because Natalie was from California. She didn't know any of these people. After that, after what he's helped do to me, I actually changed my mind. I don't want him changing teams. We don't sit with stupid. I mean, there's a lot more bad text. Like she says, jurors are too dumb. Like, I don't want to trust 12 dummies or 12 people too stupid to get out of jury duty with my life. It really is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. I'm probably getting censored. I'm always getting censored because I forget about the rules.
Is not backed up by a shred of evidence. But yet you blindly believe it. Why is that?
Well, I mean, the Waze is a more reliable thing than
but it's not.
What about his Apple? What about his phone still having it was still being used after he had been dead or had fallen in the snow or whatnot?
It was moving.
Is that
it moved. The phone moved.
Right. So what is the explanation for that, Boundless?
So, I mean, at 12:31, that's when it last moved. So I would assume, because if you move a certain amount, like if you move too fast, it's not going to count your steps. So he could have been hit after that, or that could have been the last time he was on his feet walking. at 12:31, or someone else had the phone.
So how was he walking at 12:31? Where was he? How come Ryan Nagel didn't see him then?
Ryan Nagel left before they did.
Yeah, so where was he? You're saying he was alive at 12:30. Where was he?
In the car. He had to have been in the car.
So we're back to Ryan Nagel lied about that. Okay.
I don't think he lied, but like he didn't say that he saw him get out of the car and go in the house. Like
he said definitively in his statement that there was no one else in the car with Karen Reed. Definitively.
He didn't say that. He said he didn't.
He said that. He said that
he didn't see anybody else in the car.
But like the difference?
But I also don't think
was he giving her like where was he ducking down? Was he hiding from Ryan Nagel?
Yeah, but from that logic, you're saying that he.
Watch what Gen X do to stop heartburn.
Half of the world's production of antacids is mixed in.
Right in front of him, the door that he's picking his sister up from, he missed that huge guy get out of the car and walk in the house. Right behind their car.
No, Ryan Nagel was in the back seat.
Well, there was two other people in the car.
Yeah, and they didn't see him. According to Karen,
so he's just invisible.
If
he
you
had an invisible cloak on and went inside the house.
First of all, it was snowing. There was snow everywhere. He gets out of the car.
Exactly my point. So like, it's more likely that they didn't see him when they were driving by in the car.
If you got out of the car in a long sleeve shirt in 19-degree weather, would you walk to the door or run?
I mean, if someone pulled up in front of the house and it was a house that I was picking someone up from, and I saw someone in the car get out, and I would see the person get out of the car.
Would you walk to the door or run?
It doesn't matter. Would you walk to the door or run? If you were John O'Keefe and it was snowing out 19 degrees and you had a thin long sleeve shirt on, would you? Well, I mean, he was going to a house that he didn't know the people, so I don't think he would just run into the house.
Okay, so he's going to take his time. That's your position. So Ryan Nagel's wrong, the plow driver's wrong, and John McCabe took.
Well, Ryan Nagel is wrong because you're saying that he went in the house and he was just invisible when he walked in the house. So Ryan Nagel is wrong.
So Ryan Nagel, I hope that's the prosecution's. I pray to God that is the prosecution's.
But how can you say that though?
Because they'll get laughed out of court if that happens.
Yeah, but how can you say that he didn't see him walk in the house, but he would have seen him in the car?
Because it was snowing out.
Okay, and exactly my point.
Door.
But wouldn't
you? They pulled up about 5 or 10 seconds later. That gives him
right
chance
behind
to the door.
Let me read what this says. Troopers also interviewed Mr. Ryan Nagel. Mr. Nagel's sister Julie had been at 34 Fairview the evening of January 28th, visiting with the Albert son for his birthday. Mr. Nagel stated that he had been contacted by his sister asking for a ride home. His friend drove with Mr. Nagel in the front passenger seat and his girlfriend of the rear cab of his friend's. The truck was driving down Cedar Crest Road. He observed a set of headlights of a mid-sized black SUV coming from the opposite direction on Cedar Crest. And the truck he was traveling in yielded to the SUV, making a right turn on Fairview, and then followed behind him onto Fairview. Mr. Nagel stated that the truck stopped directly in front of the driveway to the home and remembered the black SUV stopping along the right-hand curb toward the left side of the property. He remained within the truck while his sister exited the home and asked him to come inside. He declined the invitation. As the sister returned to the home, Mr. Nagel observed the black SUV pull up an approximate 1 to 1.5 car lengths to the left where the flagpole was located. He stated the SUV's driver did not appear to place the vehicle in park at any points as the rear brake lights were illuminated. Mr. Nagel reported hearing no noises coming from the interior of the SUV. He indicated that as his friend pulled away from the side of the road, when they were leaving, they drove past the black SUV. He observed the interior light on within the vehicle and a Caucasian female operator seated inside the vehicle holding the steering wheel, staring straight ahead of her.
Yeah. Where's John?
Well, he didn't say there wasn't anyone in the car.
Oh, so he just forgot to mention that the dead guy that they're questioning about was in the car?
He just didn't see him at all, so he definitely didn't see him go in the house.
No, but where was he? Was he in the car?
He had to have been in the car. Like, there's no other option, unless he's invisible.
Where was he? Was he ducking? Was he in the trunk, maybe?
Yeah, but your argument is saying, because it's snowing, they didn't see him. A huge guy running the house, but they did see him in the car. Like, that makes no fucking sense. So
why didn't you see him in the car? Explain to me a scenario in which a 217-pound man is not seen in the car when you drive by. Explain that to me. Without deflecting. Can you do that?
What's more logical? You pull up behind someone.
Can you do that?
Don't
Yes
see
or no?
a huge guy go in the house. The same house that you're waiting for your sister, so that you're driving by at night in the fucking snow and you don't see someone in the passenger seat. Unless you turn your whole head around, gawking in the car. Oh God, I'm getting wound up. But I mean, I think this is like very telling, like what they do. So Ryan Nagel, everyone in that car, they all testify they saw two people in the car when they pulled up. They did not see anyone get out of the house. They definitely would have seen anyone get out of the car and go in the house because they were like waiting for Julie Nagel, who came in and out of the door. And they hinge on that one comment where only Ryan Nagel was looking towards the house and he saw Karen in the car. We don't know if most women are pulled close to the steering wheel. He's probably leaned back. He was a tall guy. So, I mean, he might not have been looking deep into the car. He was more focused on Julie getting back into the house. So they also do this with Officer Barrows. Officer Barrows, all you hear from them is that, oh, he said it was cracked and not shattered and not completely damaged or something along those lines. They only focus on that part of his statement. But his complete statement is there was a piece missing and there was a dent in the tailgate. So, I mean, like they hinge on like one comment from one person. Like a lot of people heard Karen saying, I hit him at the scene of the crime, but they focus on the one firefighter who went to high school with Caitlin Albert and completely ignore the other people. Just like Turtle Boy in his opening to this, he's saying, oh, well, Jen McCabe, she calls her in the morning. He completely omits that Karen was calling a bunch of people that morning and said he got hit by a plow and woke up the niece and said all this stuff to the niece. So like Jen McCabe is the target in the morning. And then the target is the firefighter, Katie McLaughlin. And then it's Colin Albert because he was the ring bearer in Michael Proctor's sister's wedding. Like it's just absolutely ridiculous. And the whole Ryan Nagel thing. And so the thing is, we had GPS data, but not the detailed data. We just had a general, like when Garino testifies, we have the points like all the way from the waterfall. We can see him. We see them doing the 3-point turn. We didn't have all that at this point. I think we just had even Richard Green, and his affidavit says that they arrived at 12:24, and then his last steps were at 12:31 to 12:32. So even from Rich Green's affidavit, we had this information. But it's like they look at it and they're like, "What can we twist?" And so the 12:24, it means that he went inside the house at 12:24. But Richard Green's own signed affidavit says they arrived at 12:24. No, he was not taking. He did not get out at 12:21 and take stairs at Fairview. They were not even there yet. So I mean, it's just they just twist everything, and it's like so obvious. And from the beginning, when I started reading through this, that's when I started to be like, oh shit. Like I had a moment of mourning where I was like, oh. Because you kind of feel disappointed because I kind of bought into it for a week. But it's like, how can you cling on to something that's not true? How can you continue to vilify people that are innocent? And I think a lot of creators are doing that because I think that most people do have common sense. And most people, since this, there's been so much evidence that has come out and it's only led in one direction. If this was a cover up, there would have been a lot of things that led the other way. But, the dog DNA came out. The shards of glass in his shirt came out after this. We didn't know about that then. And now we know about his phone battery. They're saying he went inside the house, but his phone battery, I mean, I don't know what it's going to show, but it's probably going to show that it was cold and it was sitting outside all night. His Bluetooth, he was connected to the Bluetooth in her car until 12:30. And she went on Dateline and said he got out of the car as soon as they got there, and she was calling and texting, getting mad, and then she left. But we know her call log shows that she never called until 12:33. The one thing that I think might move, I don't know, in this second trial. So the 12:36 she connected to the Wi-Fi. That's kind of like was a blindside to both sides in the last trial, because it seemed like the defense was banking on her being there at 12:41 because then they could say that she called before she left because she made that first phone call at 12:33. But if he was hit at 12:32, that means that she hit him and then made the phone call. But so I think they were banking on her leaving at 12:35 or something, or like 12:34, like right after that phone call, so that they could say that, you know, she made the phone call and then left. And so that's the tricky thing. And so the 12:36, I mean, if she was walking around the driveway at 12:41, I think it's reasonable that she could have connected to the Wi-Fi earlier than that, because I don't know if she had access to his, she had a clicker to get into the house. She probably had to, you know, get out of the car, go in, open the garage manually, and then drive in. And then we hear at 12:41 her walking around. So that could be 12:30. I don't think that would take a whole 4 minutes. But I mean, I think there's definitely a lag between the two. Brennan said in the hearing John seatbelt was released at 12:31. I did not hear this. My God, that is insane if they had that data. Insane. Actually insane. That's actually insane if they had that. I did not hear that, but that is wild. That is really wild if they had that. Because that's like, she's screwed. Like, she is so screwed if they have that much detail. I mean, I think even in the last trial, I thought she was like pretty screwed. I mean, I think that she was given a gift in the first trial. You know, so many gifts in that first trial. She got Trooper Paul, who I think that he was right. Like, they did not have another expert to like refute his reading of the data. So, I mean, I think that he was right. He just did not stand up to cross-examination well. He was just a nervous witness. But that was a gift to her, right? Because he didn't really like stand behind his theory. The Sally Port, the reversal of the Sally Port footage, that was a gift to her because the Commonwealth did not even notice. It was a blind side to them. But now, after the Canton audit, we know that there's a few cameras that are set up that way. It wasn't just done so that they could pretend that something else happened that didn't happen. It's just the way that it was filmed. You know, Proctor's texts. I mean, that's still probably going to be a problem in this trial, but it's not going to be like Proctor was on the stand in shock reading some of them. Like, I remember him going, "Oh my God." Was that one? Oh, maybe it was Matt McCabe that said, "Oh my God." It was one of them that was reading them that was getting frustrated. I feel like maybe both of them said it. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you were confronted on the stand and you're seeing your text messages for the first time, you're going to kind of freak out, right? Especially if you're talking shit or you're like, you know, calling it the Asian house, or, you know, there's like a lot of things like Proctor, the way that he was talking. I mean, that's embarrassing. It's like you're on the world stage, you're on court TV, you're on camera. It's awful. And so, like, they know it's coming now. You know, Jen McCabe, I don't think that they really got her. I thought she was a pretty good witness for someone that they were attacking the whole time. I mean, I think that there's so many gifts to Karen Reed in that first trial that she's not going to get this time around. And I think I think Kerry was the one that Karen was mad at that morning, because Kerry was the one that was like telling her to shut the F up and yelling at her and getting angry with her. So if Kerry could have been implicated, I think she would have been. I think the problem is, for Karen's conspiracy to work, you have to rope Jen McCabe into it because she's the one that's related to the homeowner. And because I think that Jen McCabe was kind to her. I think, you know, if she could have blamed Kerry, she would have. But, you know, Kerry wasn't there the night before. I mean, Jen was the one that had to be blamed. And if you look at these, she's the star witness of this trial, right? And if you look at the star witness of the OJ trial was Cato Kalin. So Jen McCabe's the Cato Kalin. If you look at the Idaho 4 case, the star witness is going to be that roommate that saw him in the house with the mask on. And I don't think Cato Kalin was that attacked, but we didn't have social media back then. But both of these witnesses, Jen McCabe and Dylan Mortensen, in the Idaho 4 case, are being attacked by true crime people. And it's like, it's so sick to me because it's like, you know, they're in this like traumatic situation. You don't know how you're going to act in a situation like these. You don't know, like, and they're both drinking. Like, there's just so many variables. You can't say that you would do this or you would do that. And they're more critical of the star witnesses than they are of the unalivers. It's so weird. So weird.
Which
I'd
I
love
doubt
you to
they
answer
were
the
doing.
question. If you wouldn't mind answering the question, that'd be great.
What is the question?
Where was he? How did he miss him? How did he miss him? How did he miss John O'Keefe in the car? Explain that to me.
He obviously didn't fucking turn his head all the way around.
But he
You're
said he
driving
looked in
by
the
a car
car.
at
He
night.
saw Karen Reed in the car at hands 10 and 2 with the light on inside the car. So how come he didn't see John? How come he saw Karen but not John?
Drive by a bunch of cars at night and look in the cars and see if you can see anything besides the person on your side.
Oh,
sometimes you might see the other person if you're
if
really
the interior
looking,
lights on,
but
I'll
like
see everyone in that car.
He had no reason to be like, oh, who's in the car? And this is typical. This is a typical like eyewitness thing. They don't see everything, but he would have seen a big ass fucking guy go in the house. Like, there's no possible way he would have missed that.
So you can't explain. So
explain how we saw a fucking 200-pound guy not go in the house. How can someone miss that? He's going in the same door that his fucking sister came out of.
Okay, but
it's
you're
impossible.
ignoring the car part.
You're ignoring the whole part of the fucking 200-pound guy going in the
Unlike
house.
you, I have a theory for why Ryan Nagel didn't see him go in the house, because he ran. Because it was real quick. Because he ran because it was cold out.
He must have ran real fast.
That makes sense to a lot of people. What doesn't make sense to anyone,
that does not make sense.
What doesn't make sense to anyone is why Ryan Nagel would not see John in that car if he was inside it, like you contend.
Let's talk about something else real quick. A lot of people are asking why the home's basement floor was redone afterwards, why they filled in their pool afterwards. People are saying that's a little suspicious.
Yeah, and by the way, the dog is gone.
And the dog is gone.
The dog's gone. The family dog that they've had for 6 years. It's just gone. And then they sold the house.
Right.
Yeah. Is that suspicious behavior?
I mean, it makes suppositions about anything, but if it didn't have, like, if the facts aren't there to support that anything happens, like, you can bring up anything about anybody and, make it suspicious.
Shortly after allegations were made in court that the Alberts were involved in this, including their dog, shortly after that, the dog disappears and the house is sold, and the floorboards from the basement, where John would have gone if he went up and down stairs, are replaced. And the house was never searched.
Watch what milk does to your brain. Take a look at these two brain scans. They both look, but only one of them is young.
I do think it's funny, like, that Karen's narratives have changed so much. The first statement, and so this is important too, that the only statement she ever gave to anybody official, I believe, that as far as I know, was to Yuri Buchanan and Michael Proctor on that first day, and she said she did 3-point turn and left, and that's it. So then she comes on Dateline. I think it's Dateline. I get them confused which one's which, but I think it was Dateline. And she says, he walked up to the door, he put his head inside, and then I looked down at my phone and started looking at my stocks and put it on YouTube and whatever the hell she says. And then in the next one, she's saying he went to I think she says a different door too. I think she's the side door or something. I don't know if she says he goes inside though. But like, she kept getting more and more detailed. And then in this documentary, she's like, oh yeah, he was like jump roping to the front door. And I'm like, what the hell? And it's similar to the interaction with the O'Keefe family in the morning, where she started out with, they were just giving me looks. And then in this documentary, she's like, yeah, they were like, he got hit by a car, bitch. And it's like, what is wrong with you? And I mean, I feel like people are still believing her. And it's so weird. Like, why? Why? Like, if she was telling the truth. I mean, if she was innocent, she would just tell the truth. If she didn't remember, she would just say she didn't remember. I guess maybe that's what the argument is. Like, she's blacked out, doesn't remember anything. So like, she's making up these stories to like exonerate herself, but she doesn't remember. But she remembers. Like, how did she find him beneath the snow? Why was she saying he got hit by a plow? Why was she saying nobody knows where you are? Like, she remembered. She did not remember. She might have been foggy. I think I'll give her that. I think she was foggy. But when you think about it, when you're coming up Fairview or coming down Fairview from that side, there's a tree line, there's the fire hydrant, there's the bushes. And she started screaming, there he is, before they even got to the house. So like, she saw him through the bushes, through the tree line, through the fire hydrant. Like, it doesn't even make sense that she would ever even be looking over there. You'd be looking towards the front door. Like, you'd be like looking past that. And that's why nobody saw him on the lawn, because she was looking towards where she knew there was something. Like, your vision, it's inattention blindness. It's super common in eyewitness testimony. Whatever you're focused on, that's what you're looking at, right? Like, when you're driving down a street, you zone out. You can't remember like what you saw unless there was some like event that drew your attention. But like, a lot of people see nothing. A lot of people, there's like someone hit on the side of the road. Sometimes like many cars drive by before somebody notices. And so like, that's just the way it is. That's the way that humans are built. It's like, you have inattention. You have to be attentive to the thing that you need to be focused on. So whether it's driving, no matter what it is. Great show, Matt. Karen's text about possibly clipping John is incredibly incriminating. I hope to see you in denim. This is not going well for Karen Reed. Yeah, I mean, her text about clipping him, it is incriminating. I think she says that in a lot of these interviews too. I don't know if any of the texts are anything original that we haven't heard. And so like, that's the thing, like, Turtle Boy should be waking up. He should not have pled the fifth. He should tell the truth and like get through it, because if you think about it, she was only telling him the same stuff that she was telling Dateline and everybody else. He was not some special character. Yeah, she was talking to him more, making him feel good, but she was giving him the same story that she was giving all the other people. And it was a lie. Like, she wasn't giving him the truth. So like, he wasn't getting anything special. Yeah, he got to run the story. He got to be the face of it. Whoop-de friggin' do. But it's coming out that she's been lying the whole time. So how is that good for his brand? I mean, Turtle Boy, the guy that will lie for a killer. Wow. Yeah. Your reputation is going to be ruined after this. So like, even if you were like, oh, this is a good moneymaker, this is what I should do, I should be like the PR brand for killers, your reputation is ruined. Just like I wouldn't say Arca's reputation is ruined, but like it's damaged for sure. Because anyone else that they're testifying in a trial for is going to bring this shit up. So like, it's a public thing. It's bad. She was in control that morning. It was all an act. I mean, I'm thinking that too. Like, when I first read the affidavit, I thought she was just hysterical. She was like having the drunken regret memory where it was like coming back to you, which I think partially is true. But she remembered. She knew exactly what was going on.
dead body on your property. They did that when 2 kids were found shot to death out.
Sorry, guys. Let me go back. So basically, I don't think it's anything important, but basically he's saying they're saying, like, why didn't they search the house? Now, I think this is super important, and it was a point that I made the other day on the live on TikTok, is that from what we know now, they didn't know what went on, and if the direction was to go and search inside the house, Karen Reed probably would have got away with this, right? Because they got the car out of there, they got the car back to Dighton, and the brother works at Lexus. So what are the chances that they were trying to get a taillight to replace her taillight with? And if they did, if they weren't able to do that within, a few hours or that day, would she have gotten away with it? Probably. I mean, they would have had nothing to match it back to. And so if they did waste their time chasing the wrong lead, she probably would have got away with it. And there would have been no way to get her. Because obviously they went to seize the car and bring it back and to try to deal with it. I mean, they did, when they swabbed the car too, they did find that John's DNA was on the car, but then they said two other males. And we know that Yuri Buchanan and Michael Proctor, their DNA was not on it. So who would the other 2 males be? What do we think? I mean, they didn't say they found, I don't know if they tested for Karen Reed's DNA. I think it was males. But I would think that daddy and brother, the family of criminals, probably went out there to look at the taillight. And like, that's the thing too. It's like, there was so much snow in Dighton when they towed the car. It's like, how did that guy, how did the Dighton Officer Barrows, how was he able to see so much? Like the dent in the car, like how was he able to see that? Like, was the car like brushed off? Was the taillight like scooped out? Like, I don't know. It does look like there's not a lot of snow on it. Compared to like the snow was like up to the bumper. So I don't know.
Outside of the house, they searched the property. That's standard procedure for any competent police department. But in this case, the house was not searched, and it just so happens that the lead investigator who didn't follow protocol was good family friends with everyone who was inside that house. And he never told anyone about it, never disclosed that relationship.
So this is like the Soprano family. They just like covered up a murder and dumped him on the front lawn.
Can we talk about do you think that's normal? It's a Soprano family? Yeah, they killed him and they put him in the front lawn. What's so hard to understand about that?
Because people can never two people can't keep their story straight. You're thinking 10 people and there's kids involved. Well, then why does Karen Reed's story keep changing?
This is their entire story.
Karen Reed is the one that keeps changing her story.
This is their entire story. John didn't come in the house. That's it. That's all you got to say. John never came in the house. I don't know where he is. That's all they have to do. It's not brain surgery. John didn't come in the house.
Yeah, but someone would want to tell the truth. People tell the truth.
Oh, yeah, they want to go to jail. People like going to jail.
I mean, think people,
right? Because they're all accessories to murder.
You can't get people to stick to lies like that.
That's what your position is.
You can't get people to stick to lies like that.
Why not? Do they like jail? Maybe they like going to jail. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, all of them would not be accessories.
What is the one thing that made you change your mind on this? What is the one thing? Because like I said, at the beginning, you thought that Karen was innocent. What changed your mind? Because I will tell you, it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot of sort of he said, she said, so there's got to be something that you saw that made you change your mind.
Paying your bills on time raises your credit score, right? Wrong. In fact, this is one of the 3 major credit.
These goddamn YouTube commercials, it's torture. I mean, I don't even know what I'm going to say to this. Like, what is the one thing that changed my mind? I don't even know if there's a single thing. So I have no idea what I'm going to say. But I know that it was a process. It was probably over a couple of days. Like, I read the affidavit probably the first time, and I was like, oh, sure, she did some of this shit. Oh, this doesn't look good. And I was trying to like, I was viewing it from the lens of I still wanted her to be framed, right? And I noticed that I was kind of like you just have to ignore a lot of things to believe that. And I was like, I don't know. When I started reading more Turtle Boy articles, I know that I got to the text between him and Paul O'Keefe, and that might be what I say here. I know that was like I know that did make me go back and read, and that always does. Anytime that I ever hear anything from a family, any of the crimes that I'm talking about, I always kind of, I really take into account what the families are saying because I think it's important. I don't know why this is still spinning. I feel like it's not even going to play. Maybe it is. Let's see.
I think the main thing was reading the affidavit and just how she was looking for a body before she knew there was anything wrong. Like saying it to like his daughter and like all these people and just looking for a body. She had them out looking for a body. And then the cameras had her going over to the house where the body was.
Where did it say she was looking for a body?
When they were all in the car together, she's like...
They were looking for John.
Yeah, but like a body.
They were looking for John. Not a body. They were looking for John.
Like on the side of the road, though. Like,
they were
why?
looking for John.
Yeah, on the side of the road. Like, why is that the logical thing? And she ran right over to his body. Like,
because it's impossible to miss. Because it's 12 feet from the curb. There's no obstructions blocking it at all. Have you been on Fairview Road?
I just want to read this one part about the phone call really quick.
There's no tree line there.
At approximately 4:53 a.m., Miss McCabe stated that she received a phone call from Miss Reed looking for Mr. O'Keefe. The phone call was placed by the victim's juvenile niece as the Miss McCabe's cellular phone. Miss McCabe answered the phone from the victim's niece, spoke to her briefly, and the niece handed the phone to the defendant. The defendant sounded distraught over the phone and drove over to Miss McCabe's home. The defendant told Miss McCabe that she last remembered seeing the victim at the Waterfall bar. Miss McCabe then informed the defendant that she observed the defendant and the victim leave the bar together. She also informed the defendant had been seeing them in Miss Reed's vehicle in front of the home. Then she goes on to say, shortly after the defendant arrived at Miss McCabe's home, Miss Carrie Roberts arrived there as well, as she had also received phone calls, blah, blah, blah. While driving to Mr. O'Keefe's house, the defendant stated to Miss McCabe, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Miss McCabe stated that the defendant also told her about a cracked taillight on the vehicle. So, Doctor, why would she say that?
Why would she say what? Repeat that for me one more time.
Yes, so it says, while driving to O'Keefe's house, she stated to Miss McCabe, could I have hit him? Did I hit him?
She didn't say that. Who said? Jen McCabe says she said that. The woman who Googled how long to die in cold at 2:27, she says that. The woman who would otherwise go to jail is claiming that the other woman that's being framed now said that very suspicious thing.
The firefighter said that she said that too.
Who's the firefighter? What's her name? Do you know?
Katie something.
Katie McLaughlin. Who's her best friend?
Yeah, but you're thinking that people just want to cover up a murder. Like
there was a dozen first responders there. Only one of them was interviewed by Proctor, and that happened to be Caitlin Albert's best friend.
Yeah, it does say that here. It does say that. It does exactly what you just said. It says that. Well, it doesn't say that about their friend. But
they forgot to mention that. They forgot to mention
firefighter, Katie McLaughlin, they did interview her. She indicated at approximately, she went in and said what time, all this, blah, 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 all that. But she does say, Miss McLaughlin asked the defendant if she knew where the victim had suffered trauma. Her friend and said repeatedly, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Why would she say that?
Because she's experiencing trauma and they've all convinced her. If you were her and you came across that scene, what other conclusion would you reach if you were Karen Reed?
Mm-hmm. I mean, she knew she hit him because her taillight was broken.
She thought she hit him.
Well, she hit something.
Nobody debates that she thought she might have hit him for sure. Because who would ever think that he actually got beaten to death and left outside in the cold by a bunch of animals?
So they just got lucky that she hit something that night?
They got extremely lucky because the original plan was not to frame that, was not to blame because the 3-point turn murder is ridiculous. We all agree that's an absurd reach right there.
But I think Karen Reed said that because she needed she needed an excuse to be in reverse. That's why she said that. Because
she didn't say that.
I mean,
she never said that.
It's an affidavit.
Michael Proctor said that she said that.
But that's the reason. She had to have an excuse to be in reverse. And she didn't make a 3-point turn because she never went by the temple again.
So she didn't make a 3-point turn. We agree.
I mean, she would have came out by the temple. She would have had to go by the temple again. So she didn't make a 3-point turn, but she lied about it originally and said she did. And because the temple footage showed that she wasn't there, I guess. I don't know.
So what is the total? Like, what is your strongest piece of evidence that Karen Reed did this?
I mean, no one saw him go in the house. His phone stopped moving at 12:31. Like, I would say if there was more of a time frame where he could go in the house and like something happened, but the fact that he immediately was attacked and killed and they already were thinking ahead, like, oh, we're going to dump him on the lawn out there, put his phone out there, because they would have had to ran his phone out there almost immediately, right?
I have a question.
Yeah. What does Brian Albert do for a living? He's murder police. Who's better suited to know exactly what to do in a situation like that than murder police?
Was there no rear view camera? But they couldn't grab any data from access at all.
Oh, they're not showing it. They've got the EDR data. They're not showing it.
Are they saying why they're not showing? What's the reason? I mean, can't it be subpoenaed?
Because it's a cover-up. Because what do you think the EDR data shows?
Sure. Well, it's correct. But I'm saying, can't her lawyer subpoena that or get that somehow from? Or are they just saying it doesn't exist? There wasn't.
No, I think they do have it, right?
The prosecution has the EDR data, not the defense. And no, the EDR and the defense can't get it.
And they're not showing it, is what you're saying.
They're not showing it. They're not showing anything. They have all this stuff. There's this gigantic movement, and people are accusing them of, there's a lot of evidence that the state or that Michael Proctor and the Alberts were involved in a cover-up here, right? And this is bad for, like, if people don't trust the institutions, so they should probably get out ahead of this and say, no, actually, we do have EDR data showing that this woman backed into him. We have a lot of evidence. We have ring camera footage showing that the taillight was broken on the way home. There's a lot of ample evidence, but they don't show anything. Instead, they just say, "Oh, we got something coming. Stay tuned."
I think I did see it in the discovery, though, that they did give that to them.
The defense does not have the EDR data.
I don't know what it's called, but I thought I saw something about it.
What?
So the EDR data, they all testified on the stand that the EDR would not have registered a pedestrian hit. So I think they did have it, but there was nothing in it. The text stream data is what they had. So like he's again lying and pretending that they don't have information that they had. What I think is really interesting is like the Idaho 4 case. They're using almost the same exact defense, except they don't have a mob of. They naturally have, like, true crime naturally has a mob of people that want to like pretend, cops are corrupt and the victim are the villains and the villain is the victim, and people just do that naturally. But in this case, they had Turtle Boy, they had the media, they used the media, and it's like very obvious that they did that. But there's 7 minutes. So Brian Koberger shut off his phone during the unalivings, but there's 7 minutes of tower data prior to that the defense is saying like, oh, they withheld this exculpatory information or whatever. But it's like, because there's tower data and then there's like advanced time data or like something. It's something to do with like the way that his car was positioned or something. So they're trying to say like that's exculpatory, and it's very similar to the Sally Port because it's almost the same exact thing. So like their argument is like, oh, they withheld exculpatory information because his car was facing an opposite direction or something. Right before he shut off his phone, like it was facing south instead of going towards Moscow. But like the argument from the prosecution is like, well, AT&T, whatever. We didn't know he was a suspect till 30 days later, and after 7 days, like that type of information is like gone. So the thing is it really exculpatory? The same way the Sally Port, is that really exculpatory? Because we have the 5 a.m. video of her taillight smashed out. We have the 8 a.m. wellness check where there's no red pieces. We have the tow truck, which I don't think is that clear. And then the Sally Port, which you can't see the back of it. So I think the 5 a.m. and the 8 a.m. videos are the most important ones, right? And we have those. So like, what is the Sally Port going to show you? It does not show the back of the car. Similarly, in the Koberger case, what does that 7 minutes show you? He was facing the opposite direction, but at like 4:40, I think it is 4:40 a.m. I think the murders happened between 4 a.m. and 4:20 a.m. But at 4:40 a.m., he's leaving Moscow, where the murders happened. So, like, regardless of which way his car was pointed before he shut off his phone, does it matter that much? Is it really exculpatory? The same exact way. It's like the same exact thing. And like the same exact way they're gonna go after Jen McCabe in this case. They're going after the main witness in that case. I mean, I don't know how that's gonna play out for them. I don't think that the jury's gonna like that at all, because she's a young girl. She's 20 years old. Now she's probably 22 or 23, but kids that age are not sophisticated enough to lie to the police. Anytime you see like a crime where kids are involved, they always give it up, like someone confesses. And so like, and it's within the same day or within the first 2 days. It's like almost the first interrogation, because kids are not that sophisticated. And so I just think it's like, I don't know, it's the same exact thing as this case, but on a different level. I mean, what she did with Turtle Boy and with Law Tubers, that's not happening in the Idaho case by his direction, by the defendant's direction. It's happening naturally. Like, but Karen Reed, on the other hand, added fuel to that and like built it into this like thing, like this nasty thing of like nasty people, and like it's gross. But I mean, I think it's just if she gets away with it, it's really sad for our justice system. Really sad. I mean, I just can't wait to find out, more details. Like, I really can't wait for the opening statements. I really think it's, that's just going to show us, that's going to give us the roadmap of what they're actually going to say. I mean, I think that Karen Reed, from her comments, like, she's screwed. I think there's data. I think there's more evidence this time that really screws her. So good luck. Good luck.
Let me go back to the dog, because a lot of people are asking about the dog. Doctor, you said that the dog scratched, that's what the marks from his arm. Did the dog get out and do it while he was there, or what is your thoughts on that? Where would the dog be?
In the house. The dog's in the house. Brian Albert admitted in his grand jury testimony in April that the dog was allowed downstairs that night, that he was at the party, and that the dog is not good with strangers, and that the dog animal control records shows that dog sent 2 people to the emergency room. 2 other people who live in Canton had to go to the emergency room because that dog attacked them. That dog is not neutered. It was a violent dog, and if altercation begins happening in that house and the owner of the dog is involved, of course the German Shepherd is going to protect the owner. That's what it's trained to do. That's what it knows how to do.
So the dog was protecting its owner. It was a German Shepherd protecting the owner. Yeah. And then okay.
But even if there was a fight, like, I would think that they would have just called for help. Like, I don't think they would have been like, oh, let's like plant him outside, because a fight, drinking fights happen.
I agree. It was a fight that went very wrong when somebody hit him in the back of the head with something. And then he starts bleeding out on the floor, which is why they need to replace him.
But they could have called 911 and just got him help.
Well, at best, if they had called 911, John would be a vegetable today. Like, that was their best chance. Like, and you're right. Anybody with a moral compass would have called 911 in this situation. But they looked at this and they're like, wait a minute. We're going to go to jail for this. We're all going to lose our jobs. We have a lot to lose here. Let's blame it on That bitch. Let's throw her. Blame it on her.
Yeah, but how do they know that she was going to hit something?
They didn't.
And
they
come
didn't.
back a drunken mess
So
and
let
be
me
like,
address that.
oh,
You've
what
asked
did I
me a few
hit?
times. So let me answer that. The cocktail glass. Why do you think there was a broken cocktail glass next to him?
Well, he was seen leaving the bar with it in his
But
hand.
assuming my position, if you're me and you believe that this was all a frame-up job, why do you think they would put a broken cocktail glass there? What do you think they were making it look happened like?
She was drinking. Oh, sorry.
No, I think they were making it look like happened that the cocktail glass was the weapon, because he's right. How could they know? How could they have the foresight to know that she would later break her taillight?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right. So that's why the cocktail glass was there. That was their original plan. Is like, well, they got in an altercation and she must have hit him with the cocktail glass, caused a huge laceration in the back of the head, and he bled out. That was and honestly, that's more logical. You know, they should have gone with the cocktail glass because it's a lot more believable that it's in reverse. Because where's the abdominal injuries? Can you answer that? How come there was no bruising to his body, no broken bones, nothing?
I think she hit him from behind, and it hit his arm and his hand that was holding the glass. I think he also had his phone in his hand.
So that protects your body from being hit?
I mean, I don't think it does. And a lot of people are asking, like, saying, why was his shoe found later? Why, because the shoe, again, because a lot of people are asking, yes, they did find the shoe later on in the investigation, not that night, which is a little bit,
What was that night? The next night.
Yeah, but not the day. Right. But
a
not
few hours later.
12 hours later.
Why do you think that she Googled how long does it take to die in the cold?
So, she said, I mean, it matches a Google search that she did at 6:24 a.m. or 6:27. There were two Google searches. And it's misspelled exactly the same way. And she said that it's because Karen was screaming, how long does hypothermia take or something? And so she Googled it after they found him.
Right.
And so they're saying that happened at 2:27.
No, they're saying it happened both times.
Yeah, but I just don't believe it at all.
Oh, so you just don't believe evidence. I mean, this is the theme here.
I mean, it's an exactly.
Karen Reed did this. You have to take his position. You have to believe that the witnesses are lying, that the forensic auditor is mistaken. Everybody's mistaken except for you.
Do you understand what a defense's job is? They're hired guns. They look at the evidence and look for what they can use.
Yeah.
They're ignoring a lot of shit. Just
what are they ignoring? Tell me one thing they're ignoring.
All of Karen's voicemails telling him she hates him and screaming at him and stuff.
Oh, how many voicemails?
They have that.
So there's one voicemail of her saying, I hate you. So
after she hit him.
Hit him. And it's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to incriminate myself further by leaving
she's
a
drunk
saying,
idiot.
I hate you.
I think we know she was a drunk idiot that night.
Oh,
right?
yes. She's the idiot. She's college educated, teaches, but she's the idiot. Not
you can tell she's a drunk. Look at her face.
Is the smart person here, and Karen Reed is the idiot.
I mean, drunk. You can tell she has a drinking problem.
Oh, how can you tell that? Tell me.
I mean, is she in AA right now? Is she in AA right now?
What? No,
she's not in AA right now.
No, she's never been in AA.
She's in AA right now.
No, she's not in AA right now. You're making that up.
How did you hear that, Boundless? Where did you get that information?
I've heard it. I've heard that that's what her lawyers are having her do right now.
Oh, so your sources trust me, bro. Yeah. Okay. I mean, this sums it up. This sums up the conversation that we're having right now. I'm happy this happened, and I'm happy that people get to see this because they will plainly see that all of the evidence asserting our position that Karen Reed is innocent.
Like the invisible guy that went in the house had 3 people in the car, didn't see.
On facts, evidence, logic. We have
like the invisible guy that went in the house.
All of his position.
12 people didn't see a guy go in the house. Like that's what you were relying on.
12 people also didn't see a body when they left the house.
Well, that's a lot more realistic than a fucking grown ass 200-pound man.
They all missed the body. They all missed the
all the way in the corner of the property.
Have you ever been to 34 Fairview Road?
In the dark, in the corner.
Have you
of the
ever been to 34 Fairview Road?
There's no street lights on that street.
No, there are streetlights on that street. Have you ever been there?
Not where his body was.
There wasn't one far. On 34 Fairview Road. Have you ever been there?
I haven't been there.
Yeah. Take a trip there. You'll see just how impossible it is for 12 people not to see a gigantic body lying 12 feet from the curb. And by the way, they all
but you're
drove
saying
home
it's
that
more
way.
likely
They
not to
would've
see a
driven-
walking body walk into
What?
the house.
Okay, so all of those people missed the body. Oh yeah, oh yes, sir, exactly. So every eyewitness in this case just got it wrong. Every single one.
Well, I mean,
And
if someone
you
saw
got
the
it right.
body, they would have called the cops.
I'm
getting
getting violations for I just got violations for both of you guys that you guys are arguing from TikTok. So let's take it down a notch or they're gonna kick me off. I just got 2 violations, which is ridiculous. But for real, I just got 2 violations for one for each of you, which I've never seen before. This is interesting that TikTok did that. I don't even know. So let's just I'm wondering if you guys want to take some questions from the comments. We've got over 1,000 people in here. Does anyone want to take, are you guys, if anybody has questions, you guys can request to come into the box real quick and ask a question. I don't want to keep these guys much longer. Yeah, so it is a warning. They're saying calm down. I'm getting more from TikTok, which is okay. So I've kept these guys on the live for 1 hour and 17 minutes. I wanted to do this for 1 hour because I know everybody's time is precious.
All right. I feel like nothing else good happens after this, like nothing interesting. I think it's like they have some people come up and like there's like some crackheads that are like, oh, Turtle Boy, you're so brave. Oh, I love you. You're so brave, standing up to all these police officers. And that's the extent of it. And it's pretty gross. Oh, thank you so much, legal writer. I try to be humorous. I try to, these subjects are not that humorous, but I feel like Karen's defense is a clown show. I feel like they're all clowns, comedians. I think Eliza Little looks like, I can't believe she's 40 years old. She seems like a 12-year-old that doesn't know what's going on half the time. I know that's bad to say, but she really does. And my favorite is when the judge is like, put that down, when she's showing this chalk. And she's just like, what do you mean? Alessi just is such a joke. I just think he's just running his mouth. And I just feel like he doesn't know where anything stands, especially that day when he had to defend them about lying about Arca. Like, he really did not know what the hell to say. He's just like avoiding the questions. Yannetti is like this manufactured outrage all the time when he's the one that's outrageous, when he's the one that's done all of these things to innocent people. And Alan Jackson is just a slime ball. I mean, that's why she picked him. He's Harvey Weinstein's attorney. She picked someone that would be that's okay with vilifying victims, because Harvey Weinstein's attorney needed to accuse his victims of being something that they weren't, and that was the whole defense. But I mean, God, I don't know. I'm interested to see what they're going to say, what the angle is going to be. I mean, the defense is going to be, I think we know that they want to show the arm in their opening statement. So the arm, I just don't know, because Garrett Wing and Dr. Marie Russell have 2 totally different interpretations of the injuries. Garrett Wing says definitely not scratches unless it's a lion or a bear. And so I hope that Brennan has that video. I should tag him in it, or have someone tag him in it. But like, I have a video of him saying that. So if he's going to have a new opinion at trial, he should be able to bring up the video and be like, well, what about this video when you were on Melanie Little saying, unless it was a lion or a bear, they're not scratches, and that those are all dog bites. I mean, there's a right angle dog bite that matches the square of the taillight that was broken. I mean, I just can't. I can't. I don't know what they're going to say. I really don't. I mean, they're still going to do the dog bite thing? Like, to me, I just feel like it's so inane. I feel like you need to, like, listen to the first jury. The first jury I mean, she was given a gift that first time because that jury was more like, well, it wasn't proven. To me, it was proven. Like to me, and like I've had this discussion with many other people that are like, well, I think there still was reasonable doubt. But to me, and the 9 other jurors, no, there wasn't, because we know that they were there. We know he didn't go inside the house. We know that he went down at 12:31, 12:32. We know that her car backed up and hit something. We know that she started making those phone calls and then saying he was hit by a plow, saying, John, no, nobody knows where you are, that type of thing. So I don't think that's reasonable doubt. We know down to the second of what happened when, pretty much. And in most cases, you don't get that much information. So to me, I think if they match up if they can match up, and I've done it like loosely, matching up the injuries on his arm to the taillight and showing that the pattern is from that taillight, I feel like then she's done, because that's the only reasonable doubt. Because even Arca says anything could have knocked him over where he falls backwards and hits his head, right? Anything. So he could have got out of the car and slipped and fell and hit his head. Then it's not her fault, right? The problem and the part that they need to prove is that those marks in his arm came from the taillight, because then that proves that the car is what made him fall backwards and hit his head, and then hypothermia did him in. And so, I mean, I think that I see the taillight pieces matching. Let me see if I have a good one. I know I've been like messing with this lately, but I don't know. Maybe I don't. I have to find. But I mean, I think that's the piece. That is the piece that that's the only reasonable doubt I see that could be missing for jurors. And there was 3 of them that were like, oh, reasonable doubt. But that's the only thing it could be. It's because of the ARCA testimony, like people just saying, oh, well, we don't know what happened. Anything could have happened, like saying anything could have happened, right? And I agree. If he just had the laceration of the back of his skull, we don't know if the car hit him. We don't know if he just fell, slipped. Sure. But the problem is that there's matching stuff. There's matching injuries to his arm and to the taillight. And that's just the end of the story. Like, I mean, I feel like that just eviscerates all reasonable doubt. I mean, I think people have said it in passing. I think Tully touched on it. But so to me, this piece, that right angle mark really aligns with this right angle. So like this top rectangle piece, I think that's the point of impact. So that's coming from above. And I think that's the piece that was never found. So that was the piece where the impact was, I believe. And so that's not going to come from a flat surface. That's not going to come from a wall. It's coming from, I don't know what else it could be, because the edge of the taillight still has pieces together. It's not as damaged. This was the part of the taillight where the lights are out. And like, look at his arm. There's nothing that looks remotely like a dog bite there. Look at the housing. It's very easy to see like how that little piece that's sticking out could make any of those marks. Like there's all kinds of little pieces sticking out everywhere. I mean, I think it looks nothing like dog bites, like nothing like dog bites. So I just feel like if they focus on that, and I mean, I think if they're gonna open with the arm picture, Hank just goes all in on these images and showing that there's pieces of the taillight that match all these injuries. Because like, how are you gonna? These look nothing like dog bites. And so like once you can tie these marks on his arm to the car, and I think that's what the defensive strategy is, tie these marks on his arm to anything but the car. They don't care if it's a dog, if it's a rabbit or raccoon or whatever, but if you can tie these injuries to the car, then you know the car is what knocked him over. because we know he fell and smashed his head. Like, that's not disputed, and anything could have happened. But when you look at all the injuries, and that's why ARCA is like very slick how they approach things, because they're like, oh, well, anything could have happened to knock him over. But then they ignored all the injuries on his arm, and they ignored the dent on the back of her car, and they ignored a lot of other stuff. So it's like, why are you ignoring things? Like, just talk about the damage. Like, that's what they said they were engaged to do. See if the damage on the vehicle matches the damage to the body, right? But they only looked at the taillight, and they only looked at the head. They ignored all the marks on his arm. They ignored the abrasion on his leg. They ignored the dents on the car. They ignored the scratches down the side of the car. Like, why? Why? Obviously. I mean, either they're the worst accident reconstructionists in history, or they were given a directive. I'm trying to see if I can download. Oh, look at this picture. But, you know, it really is like, whatever they say in their opening statements, Hank should reorganize and wipe it the fuck out. Like, in his first, you know what I mean? So, like, the jury is going to hear from the prosecution. You know, she hit him with the car. She did this. These are her comments. This is what happened. She said I hit him, blah, blah, blah. And then the defense is going to come along. They can't say she's framed. Like, who knows if they're going to still try to say it. But whatever they say, just wipe it out right away. Like, with whoever he's going to call right after that, like, use that opportunity to take whatever they said right out of the jury's mind. And so if they're going to focus on the arm and the injuries, focus on the arm and the injuries, wipe it out right away. And then have the jury more focused on her state of mind, her comments, her statements, you know, or whatever they say in their opening statements. It might be better to wipe it out with the father's interview. The father saying, "Dad, I hit something," and question him right away. I mean, I think those are the two angles. It depends on what's stronger in the defense's opening statement, which way to go. But I think anything that they say that's impactful, they should just address right away and kick it right out of the juror's mind. Because if they say things and then it's like Lally's presentation was more like, okay, this is like, it was the first responders, and then it was the cops, like, all that stuff is well and good. But I think it's like, wipe the question out of their mind right away. So whatever the defense says, try to just call it out right away. Just face it right away. So, like, the thing is that the damage on the car, like where those two hands are, there's scratches on the windshield, on the window, right? So, like, what else could do that besides the glass? So that's why, like, ARCA, like, in your cross-examination for ARCA. So, ARCA, why would you shoot the glass of the taillight? What do you think happened in the back of her car? What do you think scratched her window? Do you think a human body did that? What do you think scraped down the side of her car? I mean, that could have been from her hitting the car in the driveway, but ARCA didn't even know about that. So if you're looking at the damage to this car, does it match the damage to the body? Why would you put the head hitting the taillight and ignore all this other damage? Why? And I really hope that Hank goes in on them, because it really makes no goddamn sense. Like, their hypothesis was junk, and they should be called out for it. And I think that they were good witnesses. They were credible, but, like, their premise is wrong. So, I mean, come on. So the dent on the top, I think that's the glass hit there. His arm went through that taillight, and then he scraped along the side of the car. Like, I mean, I think that's why you have some that are linear. The linear abrasions come from not the initial impact, but from when he moved, right? So, like, he scraped along something. Friction injuries, and that's what every single person called it. And then the impact injuries, I think it's the elbow going through that rectangle piece at the top. And so what else could have done that? I mean, I think looking at the taillight and looking at his injuries, that looks so much more likely than a goddamn dog bite. It's so weird. I mean, I just think that people's minds have been so tainted by the propaganda that it's like people can't see the obvious. I mean, I just think it's so obvious. Like, look at that taillight. What kind of marks do you think would be made on an arm if this was flying towards your elbow at 24 miles per hour? And like, I think this part is probably, I mean, it's hard to tell because you don't know like what part of his arm scraped. Like, he probably bounced a little. So he like impact, and then like as he's being sideswiped and thrown away, like some of it did scrape. Like the scrapes along the side of the car. So it's like, I don't know what would have scraped. It could have been the pieces that were like caught in his shirt scraping. I mean, come on. So the arm abrasions, they're from the polycarbonate, I believe, not the glass. So the glass, like his drinking glass. Well, Karen said there was a piece found in his nose, so I don't even know what to think about that. But I think that, yeah, the abrasions are from his elbow went through there. He had all those like little like snags in his shirt. So his shirt was kind of snagged on this for like a split second, right? And pulled out those pieces along with him as he, and it doesn't mean like he did a pirouette through the air. And someone gets hit and they stumble and they're trying to keep their footing. Like his shoe was gone, like his shoe came off. And most people that are hit, where their shoe falls off is where the impact occurred. So I don't think it's too far-fetched at all. I mean, I can see these pieces making those marks in his arm. Like that bottom piece that's like a right angle, that obviously is not from a dog bite. That's from a friction. Like that's from impact of something. And that's why every single medical examiner has said the same thing. It's a friction injury. It's not a bite. It's not a laceration. So I just don't understand. It is going to be an interesting trial. I mean, I just hope that, I just want to see people. I just really think that the Reeds are so inappropriate, the whole family. I mean, I hope they got called out for what they've done. I can't see myself acting that way. Like I would support a family member, but I just would not condone this. I would not let something spin out of control like this. I wouldn't want someone to go to jail for. I mean, there's just so many options that they should have pursued before going the route that they did. And since they did, I think that they deserve what they get. All of them. And I hope that Hank Brennan pulls them up all on the stand. I hope he puts them all on the spot. Because it's not fair that all of these witnesses that are just telling the truth, just doing their civic duty and reporting the facts, are put through this hell for years and years and years while they sit back and laugh and giggle and act like they're celebrities. Like, no, call them up on the stand, make them sweat. Ask them hard questions. Ask them questions that you know that they don't want to answer. Do it. And do it in the beginning. like just get it over with. Let's just do it right away. But I'm going to end this live, and thank you all for joining. And I hope you took something away, that Turtle Boy has been lying, and he has been working with Karen Reed all along. He's purposely been misrepresenting facts. He has not been an investigative reporter in this case at all. He pretends like the Waze doesn't exist and the DA is holding it when Karen Reed has it for months. and acts like I'm just blindly believing the prosecution when he has the same information. Like, it's just, ugh. Everyone involved with Karen Reed is a pretty terrible person. And it is like a witch hunt. And Karen Reed is Henry Blue on Twitter, by the way. If anyone is curious, I'm 99% sure. There's been a few times where she's interacted with me. Well, that person's interacted with me, and I'm pretty sure it's Karen Reed. She's been watching my lives on TikTok and repeating things. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if that account is still active during the trial. But we shall see. We shall see. Thanks for joining. Have a good night.
You have to believe all of the McAlberts who testified. And so am I correct in saying that they found the McAlberts to be convincing witnesses and truth tellers?
Correct.
She stated to Miss McCabe, could I have hit him? Did I hit him?
She didn't say that. Who said? Jen McCabe says she said that.
I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
The firefighter said that she said that too.
Who's the firefighter?
Repeated, I hit him.
Katie McLaughlin, who's her best friend?
She's not a close personal friend of mine.
John O'Keefe and Karen Reed never entered my house.
12 people didn't see a guy go in the house. Like, that's what you were relying on.
12 people also didn't see a body when they left.
I did notice something out of the ordinary, like a black blob in the ground by the flagpole. I also was not looking out my window.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Did anybody in this courtroom ask you if you were looking out your window?
I wouldn't be staring at her grass, so no.
Okay. I didn't ask you where you were staring.
Karen, we saw you outside of my sister's.
I saw the black SUV arrived.
There was another vehicle in front of us.
Up the hill towards us.
On the same road coming from the opposite direction.
It was a black SUV.
I've noticed a male and a female in the car.
A car length and a half in front of me.
There was another car that I hadn't recognized before. It was a dark SUV.
Saw it pull up, stopped, pulled up again, stopped, pulled up again by the flagpole, stopped. That's all I saw.
Just turned around and looked through the blinds.
It wasn't going 50 miles an hour, correct?
I mean, I didn't have a radar gun on me, but no.
Goes up the driveway and approaches the side door.
0 people have said that they saw him enter the home.
Because he's dead.
And at any point in time, did you see anybody exit from that vehicle at any point?
No.
You never saw anyone around the SUV, correct? Correct.
Ryan Nagel didn't see him go in the house because he ran. Because he was real quick. Because he ran because it was cold out.
He must have ran real fast.
That makes sense to a lot of people. What doesn't make sense to anyone?
That does not make sense.
His phone did not enter that home.
Oh, really? Actually, he did.
That address. One of those individuals is dead and the other individual is alive. Ultimately, and there's damage to the vehicle, then that individual must be responsible for.
So he was going up and down the stairs between 1221 and 1224.
But Waze says he didn't get there till 12:24.
The Waze does not say that.
They were with the ascending, descending stairs.
What the defense presented was concrete evidence by the most highly credentialed people and experts in this country.
There were also some puncture wounds in that shirt.
No!
I'm sorry, puncture wounds in the shirt?
Puncture holes.
Are you aware that Celebrite has had to modify their software based on misinterpretation of data, as you've done in this case?
Yes.
No!